आपकी बचत बढ़ेगी और आप अपनी पसंद की चीजों को और ज्यादा आसानी से खरीद पाएंगे। ये रिफॉर्म भारत की ग्रोथ स्टोरी को एक्सेलरेट करेंगे, कारोबार को और आसान बनाएंगे, निवेश को और आकर्षक बनाएंगे। हम वो सामान खरीदें जो मेड इन इंडिया हो, जिसमें हमारे देश के नौजवानों की मेहनत लगी हो। गर्व से कहो, ये स्वदेशी है। नागरिक देवो भवः के जिस मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म में इसकी साफ झलक दिखाई देती है।
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome. Welcome to the special coverage on what is a white swan day in Bharat, for Bharat and for every Bharatiya viewers. Because GST 2.0 reforms kick in and bring it down, the indirect tax slabs to just 2, 5 and 18%. And there are so many staples that make an average middle class household that are now off the entire indirect taxation bracket itself. They have no GST on them. This is the time where the Prime Minister has urged the country not just to enjoy the savings for the middle class and the poor, but to also go out and spend and fuel this entire consumption cycle in Bharat so that domestic manufacturing gets a boost. The biggest GST reset in years kicks in today, easing pressure on our wallet. From kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next generation GST, or what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has termed as GST Bachat Utsav, marks a significant overhaul. Essential goods and medicines now attract lower taxes, with over 50 items moved to the zero tax bracket. Now, meanwhile, luxury and sin goods will face a consolidated 40% GST rate. What better way to bring in the festival season with some cheer, with more money in your pocket or more goods at the same price? Let's try and understand first up, straight away, where are the big savings? Savings for the middle class. First up, bread that earlier cost about 56 rupees with a 12% tax rate will now cost 6 rupees cheaper with no tax rate at 50 rupees. That means 6 rupees saved for every loaf of bread. Then, with the UTH milk, that is toned Tetra Pak of 1 litre, will now cost about 60 rupees with no GST. Earlier, it was about 63 rupees with a 5% GST. Butter, the biggest difference, at 500 grams will now cost 250 rupees with 5% GST from 12% earlier, and it cost at that time about 280 rupees. So there is a net saving of about 17 rupees if you were to look at it for every 500 gram of butter, so 34 rupees per kilogram of butter. A dozen eggs, which earlier cost 70, will continue to cost the same because there is no change in their GST slabs. But overall, an average breakfast every day can save you anything upwards of 15 to 20 rupees, and in some households about 26 rupees. Let's try and go across to our reporters as we try and celebrate this GST Bachat Utsav and track across the country what are the kind of rebates. Is the Aam Aadmi on ground actually feeling more money in their pocket? Let's try and go across to Pallavi Ghosh joining us from Delhi. Shantanu Devata is joining us from Noida. Neetu Raghukumar will be live from Thiruvananthapuram. Aneri Shah will be live with us from Hyderabad. But first, going across to Pallavi. Pallavi, whereabouts are you? And is the middle class feeling that there is more money in the pocket? at the retail outlets, at the retail, is there a open display that these are the items that are cheaper?
Well, me certainly as a part of the middle class, I was hoping that there's more Bachat, the new income tax regime, plus, of course, the new GST 2.0. I'm just right outside the Finance Ministry, but please don't get taken in by the silent. It's actually buzzing with a lot of activity in and around the Finance Ministry. The CBIC, which is the Central Bureau of Indirect Taxes and Customs, is going to be the hub center. They've already set up subcommittees across the country, and from today onwards, they're going to closely monitor the markets in terms of sales. So what they are going to do is they're going to keep a particular watch on at least 54 items, and those include things like consumerables, dairy products, toys, medicines, to ensure that the new GST regime reaches the last mile. And the last mile are people like you and me, the middle class, the common man and the Aam Aadmi. The Prime Minister made it very, very clear yesterday when he said Nagrik Devo Bhava, which means the citizen, the people, we the citizens of India are actually the ones who are like God, because they are the ones who are going to lead on to the economic growth. So the CBIC has set up subcommittees over the next 20 days to the 20th of every month for the next 6 months. They are going to monitor the sales. They are going to submit their reports to the government, to the FPMO, and of course to the Finance Ministry to do a lekha joka of the kind of a bahi khata they will be keeping, Anand,
right,
to make us track of the kind of money or the sales which are taking place, because that is a huge hope. The hope is that when people are going to have more money, more Bachat in their hands, because of not just GST 2.0, but also because of the earlier new income tax regime, they'll save more and they'll want to spend more. And when you spend more, you just add on to the cycle of demand and supply, so everyone is happy.
Well, so Pujo is underway. So greetings on yesterday was Mahalaya. So it's festive time in Bengal for Bengalis. It's festive time for Gujarat and Gujaratis. It's festive time in Kerala. It's festive time in Tamil Nadu. It's festive time in the Northeast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Arunachal Pradesh, and he is going to be spending time there, making a lot of inaugurations. So he is in various parts of the Northeast today, the farthermost corner of our country, but where he has said that it's never going to be landing on the blind spot. But Pallavi, what's the estimation of the government that what is the average amount of disposable income that is going to be added into the pocket of the middle class, the poor? Because Prime Minister highlighted those who are at the 12 lakh bracket who don't have to pay taxes. How much money is it going to go into their pocket? And where do they think that the Aam Aadmi is going to spend this?
Well, I mean, more than 2 lakhs. That's the estimate which is really coming in from the Finance Ministry, that more than 2 lakhs are actually going to be saved by a common man per month we are talking about. And what they're looking at is a spurt in, for example, the automobile sector. For example, if someone was planning to buy a two-wheeler, they're now going to buy a four-wheeler. The automobile sector gets a huge boost. Remember, this is also an important sector in terms of the tariffs which we are talking about, because that is where the impact could be felt. So, Swadeshi, Indian-made brands, but more than that, the farmers. Let's not forget the important factors for the GST 2.0 is also, as far as the farmers are concerned, tractors, equipments are going to get cheaper. Consumerables, that's also going to get much, much cheaper. Dairy will have now, paneer, for example, will have a 0% GST coming on this. That's also another sector which India wants to protect in all our trade negotiations. So farmers, our annadatas, if they are happy, it's certainly going to make the backbone of Indian economy also very robust, resilient and happy as well.
Well, you've got to keep an eye on the negotiations with the US and what is agreed on. Is this plus giving perhaps domestic producers a little bit of a competitive edge before perhaps an equation is set with the US where certain amount of leverage is given to US brands to enter Bharat, but at a time when local manufacturers are given that competitive edge of an 8 to 10% differential. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out, because it's too soon to call. Let's go across to Aneri Shah from Hyderabad. Even as Shantanu and Neetu are with us. Pallavi, please stay on. Aneri, how is Hyderabad responding to the GST Bachat Utsav?
Well, definitely a big boost for the common citizens when we talk about the GST reforms which have been announced today, and especially when we talk about the health sector, where it's a major relief that has been announced by the central government, where we see that the cut has been announced from 18% to 5%, especially in the gyms, fitness centers. We are right now at one of the gyms here at the Crunch Fitness Studio. We'll just try and get a word from the people here who are present. So, आप यहाँ पे जिम ट्रेनर है, तो ये जो जीएसटी रिफॉर्म सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने अनाउंस किया है, अब 18% से 5% हो गया है, आप किस तरह से देखते हैं? हाउ इज़ इट अ बिग रिलीफ फॉर द जिम स्पेशली?
It is very good, first of all. Why? Because most of the people will won't do workout because of the heavy charges in gym. So ऐसे है कि बहुत सारे लोग वर्कआउट्स कर सकते हैं, और जो जिम्स डालना है वो भी डाल सकते हैं, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग जीएसटी की वजह से जिम्स नहीं डाल रहे, बिजनेस वो भी नहीं कर रहे, और वर्कआउट्स भी ज़्यादा चार्जेस है बोल के नहीं कर रहे. तो अभी ये चांस अच्छा है कि ये वर्कआउट्स भी कर सकते हैं. जो मिडिल क्लास है, जो लोअर मिडिल क्लास है, वो भी अच्छा हेल्थ पे फोकस कर सकते हैं. बेसिक फीस रहेगी मेंबरशिप, और ट्रेनिंग की फ़ीस भी कम रहेगी, तो अच्छा है.
So, ma'am, you have been coming to gym regularly, and also you also run a house. So, how do you look at this GST reforms? Because on various products like grocery, dairy milks, gyms, health, various products, the GST reforms have been announced. It's a major cut which has been announced. How do you look at it?
So basically, it feels like a great relief for everybody, especially the middle class people and the lower middle class. There is a more likelihood for the sales to increase, and also everybody will move towards a good productivity.
Right.
So eventually, I think we will land up in we are moving towards from developing towards a developed nation.
Right.
We are hopefully will do the best.
So you see that these GST reforms are going to help?
Yeah, they are going to definitely help.
Right.
Everybody.
Well,
So
Aneri,
as you can
thank
see,
you for
people
that.
here are definitely.
You just need to ask those who've paid an annual membership on the 1st of January this year, because they would have paid 18%. So those who are going month to month or quarter to quarter will perhaps stand to benefit. But as long as there are more people entering the gyms, good for Bharat, because we are working towards a healthier lifestyle and a healthier us. Let's go across to Neetu in Thiruvananthapuram. Neetu? Are you seeing the difference at the retail outlets, at the retail points?
Oh yes, there's a lot of difference that we are witnessing. I am with a family here, Anand, a family of Arjun Narayan here. We'll just try and talk to them how they are looking at it, what difference they will be seeing and they are anticipating and expecting. So Arjun, household bills, the monthly bills, groceries, that is something which will be seeing a lot of change. So how are you anticipating, or how are you seeing this?
Yeah, actually, household bills, like starting from, I think, milk products, packaged milk products, like a lot of items are having a major cut, which probably will directly affect the household bill. Like it'll bring down a lot of like trouble we are having in terms of like the extra pricing. So definitely, I think it will improve the consumption as a large, because from an economic point of view too, like the consumption of my household will be more, and also probably we can spend it on much wiser things, like obviously even items like TV, refrigerators, all these things are having a major cut too. So I think probably all households will be able to afford much more things which are required in the house, and it is a good thing actually.
You're somebody who's working in the insurance sector, so that is one sector which has seen a lot of changes with this new GST reform. How are you seeing this?
Yeah, actually we are taking it very positively. If you look at from the insurance sector also, like even both life and health insurance, both have seen a major cut. Like we have been demanding this for a long time now, and I think 0% GST is something like which is like a boon to us. Like it is like having a major cut, like from the 18% GST slab in life insurance product. Like some of our basic policies like term plans had 18% GST. So from that to 0% now, it is becoming much more affordable for the larger crowd to come into the umbrella of beyond the insurance cover, and probably the government has a vision of like IRD has a vision of like by 2047 insurance for all. So I think this will be a large push towards that. it will definitely, even in our office today, we are having a large celebration today because of this GST cut. So I'll be leaving in a few minutes to the office actually.
So, you think that generally the economy will get a boost with all these cuts? More spending will be there, more money will be back in this?
Yeah, definitely. I think the government is expecting that too. They are bringing down these costs to probably boost the consumption. Even yesterday, I had a seminar with the CMA, Chartered Management Accountants. So they were all speaking of this as a very positive thing, and it will drive consumption. So it is such a great thing for the economy, I feel.
Right.
So Anand, you heard from a common man, from a household, what they are expecting. And how they're
interesting
seeing
would be
this
Neeta
as
to
a
ask
major
him, did he
boost.
go out and buy milk and did he find it cheaper? Did he end up paying less for it or for the bread? Or in terms of breakfast at the canteen, will that come out cheaper? We'll have to wait and watch. Let's see at the price points. I think all of us will need to now go back at the shop fronts, at the dealerships, and try and see, are they really putting out and passing out these benefits and openly calling out कि देखो सब सस्ता हो गया है. Shantanu, in Noida, are you seeing this in Noida?
Yeah, definitely. The consumers are really happy because of the lower prices on their daily essential goods. In fact, we are joined by one of the consumers who will try to give us his perspective regarding this new GST rates. GST 2.0 के लागू होने के बाद आपके डेली एसेंशियल्स बहुत कम हो चुके हैं. तो आप इस चीज़ को किस तरह से देखते हैं? कंज्यूमर ज़्यादा सेव करेगा अभी?
हाँ, सेविंग्स बढ़ेंगी. सारे कितने काफ़ी ज़्यादा प्राइसेस कट हुए हैं. पुअर, लोअर मिडिल क्लास जितने ऑल सेक्टर्स, फार्मर्स और मतलब हर सेक्टर के लोग मतलब इससे बेनिफिट करेंगे. सेविंग्स बढ़ेगी, लोगों की सेविंग्स बढ़ेगी तो लोग बाग इन्वेस्टमेंट भी करेंगे
जिसमें कि पैसा कम हो गया है.
GDP को भी बूस्ट मिलेगा.
आप खुश हैं इस नए रेट से?
मैं बहुत खुश हूँ.
So at the same time, I also want to show you.
No, Shantanu, ask him what is it that he's bought that is cheaper today, this morning.
The UHT toned milk will now cost you rupees 75 and the old price was rupees 77. At the same time, if we talk about paneer, the new price of paneer, that is 200 grams of paneer, will cost you rupees 92 and the old price was 95. And if we talk about butter, that has been under 5% of GST now, will cost you rupees 285 of 500 grams of butter, which was earlier used to cost you at rupees 305. So these are the new GST rates, and if we talk about the consumers, actually it is a bonanza for them because all their daily essentials are now available to them at a cheaper rate. In fact, they're really happy because of this big decision, and they also anticipate that their consumption is going to rise, and at the same time, as the experts suggest, that the households are going to save more because of this GST 2.0 initially boosting the Indian GDP.
I'm going to check if Shantanu can hear me. Shantanu, can you hear me? Shantanu, am I audible to you? All right, we'll try and go.
Yeah. Hello?
I am audible to you. What I want to understand is that gentleman who you were speaking with, did he feel the difference? What did he go to buy? And did he end up paying less? Did he feel the difference that there is so much? That's what I wanted you to ask him. कि वो क्या खरीदने गए थे और क्या सस्ता निकला उनके लिए?
He went to, first of all, he came to buy the milk, particularly the UHT milk, and he found that cheaper. And at the same time, he also came to buy all the dairy products that everyone is going now to the office, and he found the paneer at the same time to be cheaper. Remember?
Right. So when you speak with more people, Shantanu, and to all our reporters, let's try and get it from the consumers themselves. What is the difference that they are feeling? Because the middle class has always been very accounting. They'll take the exact amount of money, 100 रुपए लेके गए जो लेना है, उनको पता है बैलेंस कितना मिलना चाहिए. आज अगर बैलेंस ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, so do they feel happy? Do they realize that? I think that's what is the pulse of it and the overall crux of this entire GST Bachat Utsav. We'll also try and go across to the car dealerships and the bike dealerships and see if there is a spurt. Because the festive time, first day of Navratri, there is always more consumption. But is it going to be more? We'll try and see that, viewers, and try and get you a check on ground for the same. Meanwhile, let's try and also quickly understand what's new in the new slabs, where is where, which categories and which sectors get where. There are two, most importantly now, rather than 4 slabs, there are just 2 slabs, 5, 12 and 18 and 28% is gone. It's just now 5% and 18%. So 2 slabs, it's simplified. Let's look at healthcare and essentials. They get really cheaper. Most importantly, health insurance now gets really cheap because of this entire 18% slab goes away. So those who were deterred, finding the 18% a deterrent, now can go ahead and access health insurance at a much cheaper rate. Now, soaps, toothpaste, breads, so basic staples which are part of our hygiene and also nutrition, these are now going to be critically cheaper. And also from a point of astha, every household would want कि त्योहार में घर में घी के दिए जलाएं. That becomes possible because ghee becomes so much cheaper now. Life-saving drugs down from 12% to 5%. Two-wheelers, small cars, TV, ACs, cement, all down from 28% to 18%. So clearly a 10% differential. That's a huge discount. इतना तो हम लड़ते हैं कि भाई 10% तो discount दे दो. That discount is now part of the price tag. It's already included in the price tag, and that means you have that 10% extra in your pocket to spend it on something else, maybe an additional accessory, or think about upgrading to a better car or a better model of the same brand. Farming machinery, irrigation gear, all down from 12% to 5%. Yes, the sin and luxury goods see a jump up to 40%, but even there, viewers, luxury cars are going to be at least 5 to 8% cheaper, and in some cases 10% cheaper, because earlier the deal was you had to pay 28% plus another 10% of cess, in some cases 28% plus at least 7 to 8% of cess in some cases. So all of that now gets added, and there is that benefit that is passed on to you, because now you're paying 40%. You're in luxury cars, you're paying about 45 to 50% somewhere earlier, including the cess and that 28% duty. But now that number comes down to about 40%. So you'd see at least about 7 to 8%, if not 10% less, even in the price of luxury cars. But when it comes to sin goods, yes, other sin goods like tobacco, alcohol, carbonated drinks, so they will become a little more expensive, and perhaps rightly so, because we should be consuming less of those. That's what the government believes. Ajay Bagga, market expert with us. Sunil Alag, market strategist and managing director of SK Advisors with us. Dr. Kiran, MD Suchindra Group with us. My namaste, Jai Hind, good morning. Dr. Suchindra, has it been quite sleepless reworking the packaging, pricing and all, or has it been all right, smooth? So you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself, please? I'm not able to hear you. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
So, first of all, it's a day to remember day to remember. I mean, it's we are celebrating the festival in advance. I mean, I'm on the board of many organizations like National Real Estate Developers Council, NAREDCO, and also the Chamber of Commerce's. See everywhere that festive mood, and the people started thinking about the new things. And most important thing, what I wanted to tell you over here is the Indian middle class will move from the normal quality to the better quality, and the consumption level will increase. The typical our mindset of the bargain, as you rightly quoting earlier, that 5% plus percent kelly, even if I go to any the shop, it's I look for about 5 to 10% of the discount or the thing, and especially the middle class, especially when I look at my clients or anywhere when I observe, the people when you go to the shop, they'll come with the fixed with the budget. I mean, it's like 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees if they go. So what they look at it is what I'm going to get it out of it. I mean, what best I can. If they're saving about 100 rupees or 200 rupees, they're going to spend it over there, and more things from the supermarket or shops, and they'll go back. So this is really the boost to the Swadeshi, and
what about those who are wanting to invest in your projects? How much cheaper are you making it for them?
Yeah.
Because real estate should come down quite a bit.
Yes, definitely. I'm in, always, talk on all the platforms. So the middle class should be taken care, and the middle class we should give the better, the housing and better quality. So definitely it will the help. I mean, especially the cement. Cement is something like, if you go to smallest village, there is something or other. Either it is a vastu correction or small changes, or if they have a small money, they wanted to go for the extra bedroom or extra the facility. What you need is the cement. The steel is, but the cement is the most important thing. Cement is almost, 15 overall. If you look at the 280 rupees now it has come down to about, 36 rupees. The variation is there. So earlier people used to buy from the local market, the cheap the cement. When I asked, some of the cement, the dealers, the local dealers, I mean, the
Yeah.
small timers, they said the difference between the premium, the cement to the ordinary cement is about 25, 30 rupees. But people, it's only 20% is the premium and 80% is the cheaper version. So that is the consumption. I mean, the cheap material consumption. Now the people will go for the better the
So,
cement.
so that aspiration part which every person has, that if I had some more money, I would like to do something better. I would like to make my life better. I would like to have a better brand, a better quality product, and that just becomes affordable. Dr. Kiran, please stay on with us. I'm just going to ask Sunil Alag, Ajay ji, before I come across to you. Sunil ji, have you seen the impact of the GST Bachat Utsav, or GST or no GST is just a drop in the ocean for you?
No, look, ultimately, either the savings rate will go up or the consumption will go up. One of the two will go up. And either way, the government is going to. When Mr. Modi came on yesterday, he said, look, we have to become Swadeshi. We cannot depend on other countries. So he's done his bit the government has done his bit on GST. Now it's up to us or the industry to do everything that we can do, that we come across accordingly, and we move together and help the nation. Now, 1st of February is the budget. Now he's done GST. Now, if we increase consumption, we are a consumption-based industry, and therefore, if we increase consumption, he'll give us more on 1st Feb. If we don't, then there's a problem. There is a problem because he is in the hope that GST. See, in the season, everybody drops the prices. Now they are not dropping the prices because GST is coming. So now, whether the GST is going to work or not, he's going to spend more on infrastructure. Infrastructure is one of them, cement and everything else that he's made cheaper. He's going to spend more on infrastructure. Now it's for us that's going to increase employment, that's going to generate more income. Therefore, ultimately, it is for us to join hands with the government now and increase consumption, because we are a consumption-based industry.
Correct.
Therefore, we cannot rely on other countries like America or something to do what they have to do. When I was talking to the economic advisor 2 weeks ago, he said, look, if Trump continues his thing, therefore 6 months or 8 months, we have to tighten our belts. There's no question that, because there are industries which have got affected, and like gems and jewelry and everything else that has got affected, because he feels that in November, now Mr. Goel has gone across today, and Monday he's gone. And therefore, if the 25% tariff comes off on the Russian oil because China is there, otherwise we are moving closer to China and Russia. Russia has always been a friend of ours, right from the beginning.
So we'll talk about that in a bit, but I want to ask you, which luxury car is now in your radar? Because
I know, look, I have already paid extra GST, and I'm now on the radar because one car, Camry, is come about $1.5 lakh cheaper. But I have paid GST already. So therefore, all those new buyers that have come in, that luxury cars or whatever you want to spend on anything else, see, those who have, in health, for instance, those who've taken a 2-year project, now 2-year may come tha, they've forced you, and therefore you paid GST. Now the new people who are coming in are ones who are going to gain.
where those who decided to go from one quarter to the other or 1 month to the other stand to benefit than those who actually have
Benefit
done
much more.
annual deals. I was just mentioning about gym membership. 1st of Jan or January, everybody has these resolutions and then they go and pack off their full annual membership, etc. Those who have done one quarter, dekhte ja rahe ki nahi ja rahe, they perhaps will talk, will perhaps
The new
benefit.
guys will gain.
Yeah, Ajay Bagga ji,
I have gained on milk and the bread, everything which is upper income group. Now, we tend to save. The poorer and the middle income group tends to spend.
Tends to spend.
And therefore, that's what the hope is now.
Right. I think the Prime Minister's message is in this festive season or over the next quarter, the more you spend, eventually before the end of the financial year 2026, the more you will save. That's the indication. That's what, because it's a cycle. But Ajay Bagga ji, usually we talk about the art of living. Today we are talking about the art of saving, the art of spending, but more importantly, the art of investing. So is that also going to get influenced because of this GST Bachat, and whether or not this consumption cycle sees a spike over and above the festive spike?
No, definitely, Anand. What's going to happen, what Sunil sir said already, the consumption cycle gets a boost. So and it's very well timed to the start of the Navratri today. So festive season, this quarter we get a lot of the consumer-oriented sales happening within this quarter itself. So that's going to get a big boost. The multiplier on the savings plus the enhanced consumption is about 4 times. That's why the government has come out with this 2.5 lakh crore. And just to put it in perspective, and what Sunil sir already mentioned, the poor segments are spending a large part of their basket on just basic essentials, the food essentials. They get the biggest kicker in terms of percentage, especially the milk products coming down to 0%. All that is going to help the poorer segments the most, because consumption tax, like a GST, is more onerous on the poorer segment. So it's going to help that a lot. Second big move will be, so first is affordability. Second will be premiumization. You will have more money to go around, so people will go up the value chain. Third, what we normally see, the middle and the upper segments tend to save this money, invest more, and that's where the multiplier for the economy starts getting even more interesting, because that money rotates even faster when it gets into the banking system or the investment system. So expect a very good impact from this. And there is what we call Laffer's curve in economics, which you have heard of, that as you cut taxes, there is an optimal rate at which your revenues keep increasing. So last 5 years, GST has gone from 11 lakh collections annually to 22 lakh collections now. That has given government the space to give this cut. The government's foregone revenues will be about 46,000 crores. We are hoping that the impact for the government will be about 2 lakh crores. They will make up this shortfall and more in GST collections, Anand.
Right. Okay, gentlemen, please stay on. We've got another update, and this is a geopolitical impact on the H-1B visas. There's an update that's just coming through. And the update is that the entire overall impact is on markets. Nifty index is down by about 3%, but that's about 1,100 points. So markets are opening in the red. Is this the H-1B visa overhaul impact on the markets? That's the big question. The GST Bachat Utsav not reflecting on the market. Sudarshan is joining us. Sudarshan Kumar of CNBC TV 18. Yes, Sudarshan.
So I'll say it's not a big impact as of now that we are seeing in on the market. So both Sensex and Nifty had started with a cut of around 0.5% each. But now if you see, currently Nifty is down just 0.3%. It's almost the same for Sensex. So two headlines that are weighing on the market. First one is GST cut and second is H-1B visa issue. So first, all these stocks related to GST cut, you take a name of auto, consumption, cement, real estate, all these stocks are moving higher, while the IT stocks are lower because of H-1B visa issue. But in IT also, mainly the downtick we are seeing in the large cap names. And those names are like big contributors to Nifty. That's the reason you are seeing a minor downtick in Nifty. Otherwise, it's not a bad start for the market after the headline that we have got over the weekend of the big hike in H-1B visa issue. But we'll have to see if GST cut impact overpowers H-1B visa issue. As of now, market is looking in a very good shape.
Markets are now picking up. That means the drop is not as steep as when they opened in the red. They're slowly climbing up, back up is what Sudarshan is telling us. But not just the GST Bachat Utsav, but Sudarshan, clarification on the H-1B visa. There was panic because sab confused ho gaye the. What is going to happen? Now, clarification by the US government and now the official notification, has that also perhaps stayed the sentiment a bit and, stemmed this entire slide?
More than the government's, basically White House clarification, I would say that the comments that are coming, especially from mid-cap IT names, most of the names, you take an example, Cyient, Coforge, Persistent, LTI, Mindtree, Emphasis. Over the weekend, everyone was thinking that this hike would have a major impact on these names. But early in the morning, and from yesterday in the evening to today early in the morning, all these companies have put out the comment saying that they are not going to have a major impact. The reason, over the last 2 to 3 years, they have reduced the onshore presence considerably, and just the impact maximum can be 1 to 3%. This is what that we are getting to know from the comment of these companies, and that's the reason in the mid-cap IT names, those companies, those stocks had started with a cut of 4 to 5%, but in the last 15 to 20 minutes, we are seeing that these stocks also have made a certain recovery. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but as of now, I would say not a major impact.
Correct. And even as we speak, the impact is now reducing. It was like 0.34% and Nifty was down. Now it's just 0.11%. So slowly, perhaps by the time we take a break and come back in the next 5-6 minutes, we should have the markets back in the green. Stay with us.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
All right, let's start this bulletin with the top story that we are tracking today. Starting today, consumers can expect major relief as reduced GST rates on over 375 items could come into effect. From kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next generation GST, or what the PM Modi termed GST Bachat Utsav, marks a significant overhaul. Essential goods and medicines now attract lower taxes, with over 50 items moved to the zero tax bracket. Meanwhile, luxury and sin goods will face a consolidated 40% GST rate. The Prime Minister said that the GST reforms would not only lighten the burden on households, but also strengthen India's position as a magnet for investment and haven for the entrepreneurs. PM Modi also renewed his call for Swadeshi push, urging the people to promote made in India products.
सरकार ने 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम को टैक्स फ्री करके एक उपहार दिया, और स्वाभाविक है जब 12 लाख रुपयों का इनकम टैक्स में राहत हो जाए तो मध्यम वर्ग के जीवन में तो कितना बड़ा बदलाव आता है, कितनी सरलता सुविधा हो जाती है। और अब गरीबों की भी बारी है, नियो मिडिल क्लास की बारी है। अब गरीब को, नियो मिडिल क्लास को एक तरह से डबल बोनांजा मिल रहा है। हमें हर घर को स्वदेशी का प्रतीक बनाना है। हर दुकान को स्वदेशी से सजाना है। गर्व से कहो ये स्वदेशी है, गर्व से कहो मैं स्वदेशी खरीदता हूं, मैं स्वदेशी सामान की बिक्री भी करता हूं। ये हर भारतीय का मिजाज बनना चाहिए। हम नागरिक देवो भवः, नागरिक देवो भवः के जिस मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म में इसकी साफ झलक दिखाई देती है। अगर हम इनकम टैक्स में छूट और जीएसटी में छूट को जोड़ दें तो एक साल में जो निर्णय हुए हैं उससे देश के लोगों को 2.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा की बचत होगी। और तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूं ये बचत उत्सव है। साथियों, विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य तक पहुंचने के लिए हमें आत्मनिर्भरता के रास्ते पर चलना ही होगा।
अभी तमाम रिफॉर्म्स हुए हैं, मगर थोड़ा सा मैं बात करना चाह रहा था इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स जो हुए हैं मोदी जी के अंडर। अभी हाल फिलहाल में GST 2 जीएसटी का रैशनलाइजेशन हुआ है, बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है। इनकम टैक्स को रेट्स को कमी आई है, पिछले बजट में बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है। कॉर्पोरेट रेट टैक्स कट किया। तो इन रिफॉर्म्स के पीछे क्या विजन था, क्या थिंकिंग थी मोदी जी की?
देखिए, आप जीएसटी के अभी हुए सुधार के बारे में मैं बाद में बात करूंगा। जीएसटी की चर्चा कांग्रेस की सरकार थी तब से होती थी। श्री चिदम्बरम वित्त मंत्री थे तब भी हुई, श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी वित्त मंत्री थे तब भी हुई। कई बार कांग्रेस ये गुमराह कर रही है कि ये तो हमारा आइडिया है। ठीक है भाई, आपका आइडिया है तो इंप्लीमेंट क्यों नहीं हुआ? राज्य विरोध करते थे। राज्य विरोध किस चीज का करते थे? राज्य विरोध जिस चीज का करते थे वो चीज देश की जनता को समझनी चाहिए। सभी को मालूम था कि जीएसटी आने से राज्यों के रिसोर्सेस में एक प्रकार का रिजर्व होगा, कमी आएगी। वो कमी की भरपाई के लिए उस वक्त राज्य केंद्र से गारंटी मांगते थे, जो कांग्रेस ने नहीं दी, राज्यों ने सहमति नहीं दी और जीएसटी के रिफॉर्म नहीं हुए।
The GST reform, sir, do you think it has a long-lasting impact for the common man? How do you think it will pan out once it is, of course, it's going to get operative on 22nd of September?
GST is a very big reform. There are two elements to it. One element is basically reducing the rates on so many items, especially the items which are consumed by us from in our day-to-day needs. Second is the very old problems which we inherited from the excise, from so many different types of taxes that were there. GST simplified that, and this reforms basically further simplifies a lot many things. I would also like to point out one very important thing. Since 1947, when we have had so many prime ministers, did any prime minister put a large goal, a big goal like making our country Viksit Bharat? First time we have a prime minister who has given that goal, put a timeline to it, and has made all of us work in one single direction to achieve that goal. It's a very big, very, very big thing, and that's how big. If you look at the history of any country which has achieved a high level of development, they have all had a leader who puts the entire country's energies in one direction.
But putting very, very important items, everyday use items, into this GST list, I mean, we know that the Prime Minister always thinks about the common man as well, but practically speaking, how much is it expected to impact everyday lives?
Significantly. Take the life of a common citizen. Practically every food item, practically everything which is used in day-to-day working, the clothes, the television, the scooty, practically every item is going to be, there's going to be a benefit on practically every item that we use in our day-to-day life. Then comes the aspirational class. People want to upgrade their cars, people want to have the farmers want to have a better tractor. All those items are going to get cheaper. So it's a very significant change. Our cost of living will significantly.
Back live on our special coverage where the GST Bachat Utsav is on this happy day of Navratri, the first day of Navratra, and with the celebration of the Shakti or Devi all across the country in her different manifestations. Is this going to trigger a consumption cycle that's going to further boost Bharat's economy? More than 2.5 lakh crores should be pushed back into the economy and money should circle, and there should be a consumption uptake across various sectors, at least 55 various sectors, which are now going to be very closely monitored by the Sarkar, by the government, to see whether or not this Bachat Utsav has been passed on. This Bachat, the benefits of indirect taxes being dropped to just two slabs, 5% and 18%, and many staples off the entire indirect tax list or the GST list altogether. Is this really reaching the Aam Aadmi, the middle class, the poor on ground? And we're also tracking it along with our reporters, so we'll go across to them in a short bit. Ajay Bagga, Sunil Alag and Dr. Kiran with us. Also joining us is Kishore Subramanian. In a bit, Sunil Alag should join us back in a bit. Kishore Subramanian, your thoughts, your take. Are you going to watch this entire consumption uptake very closely? Is it going to be over and above the festival spurt? Is that where you're watching this Bachat Utsav very closely?
Yeah, good morning and wishing you all a happy Navratri. I believe the consumption tick will happen, but there will be a lag here. See, what typically happens is that you need to understand, if I had to buy a mixie or a grinder, I'm not going to buy two of them. What's going to happen is that the savings that I make on the excess GST, that's going to be reinvested or consumed in some other form. So yes, the savings is real because there are items which has gone to 0%, there are items which have come to 5%. So there is a huge saving that's going to happen. This will have an impact specifically on auto, consumer, and the consumer. The FMCG is the sector where I believe that strongly there will be an uptick. That's number one. Number two, I also believe these reforms were long overdue, and whether the end consumer will get the entire benefit is something we need to see in the electronics and FMCG. I believe in the next 2-3 days we will see the impact of it, because today, as I speak in the market, there are no exact numbers are not known in terms of how much is the reduction in a 64-inch TV or a 32-inch TV. That's not known. They are saying it's going to take 2 to 3 working days for that. As far as the cars or the automobiles are concerned, we also already know that how much is the reduction, and the reduction has been already passed on.
Right.
Having said that, we need to understand that the earnings cycles are still not picking up. So this will give a real boost to the earnings cycle. But I think it will be seen from Q3 and the real impact will be seen in Q4.
So do you believe that there is going to be a lag? One, of it manifesting in the market per se, and two, the entire consumption uptake itself towards the end of this quarter, early next. Ajay Baggaji, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, but the uptick is coming, Anand, because a lot of the sales have got now backloaded to 22nd September. Also, there was Pitru Paksh, which in the north people consider inauspicious for new purchases. So you will see a boost coming in. The trends will be clear in the next 10 days, especially in dealerships. They were taking bookings as of September 22nd already. So today itself, you will see huge amounts of tractors, huge amount of cars being booked where the post-dated checks were sitting with the dealers already. So it's coming. The boom is coming. On a economy of our scale where 60% of the GDP is consumption, you give a small stimulus, it leads to magic. And this is a pretty hefty stimulus that's been given, especially on the food items, especially on cement, for example, going from 28 to 18%. That's a straight 1.5% project savings for infrastructure or real estate. Other building materials, if you look at one of the Chinese durables maker Their CEO was there on TV last week, Anand.
Yeah.
They were talking of 30% hike this season versus last year based on the GST cuts. So it's coming, Anand. The magic is coming.
The magic is coming. But a quick word before I go to Dr. Kiran Ajay on this entire GST chori aspect. Will that come down?
It will. And that's the beauty of the Laffer's curve, because as you reduce taxes, the compliance goes up and the affordability goes up. So even in compliance terms, see today, because the food items have gone down, somebody like Amul, which was getting hit by unorganized paneer or unorganized milk, people will just shift to Amul completely because there is no price differential now left as far as the tax goes. So 5% savings there on dairy products across the board. You will have 100% compliance coming in. So unorganized goes down, affordability increases, and tax compliance increases.
Dr. Kiran, your thoughts? Real estate sees a lot of cash doing the rounds. There is talk about even with high-end goods, there is this whole thing about cash coming back into the market, this conversation. Do you see more compliance coming through?
Definitely. See, this GST will normally plays a vital role in real estate the sector. So the most of the people, they buy, the completed project because there is no GST on, everything is already compliance is done and everything is done. But when it comes to, the ongoing projects, definitely it will make a huge difference. And as far as the projects are concerned for the last 10-15, last 1 week especially, we were waiting for this the 22nd to come and to place an orders. So my entire team is busy in placing an orders and so the almost last 1 week it's almost started the sites and the work. So they were trying to convince the project people, please write, we are going to get a lot of the savings and all. Even I'm into hospitality and resorts. Anand. So if you look at the GST is the most important thing. See, हम लोग cash pay कर सकते हैं क्या? The most of the customers they'll come and say, like हम लोग cash pay without GST is it possible? As it's a corporate, it is not possible. Sometimes it will go to the local the hotels and all of the stuff. Especially the 3-star the segment, 4-star, 5-star, okay, but especially the 3-star segment, it will get a very good boost because it's a GST is definitely it matters, and the people who wanted to stay in a normal room, they'll move to the superior room and the premium suites, and not wanted to take a decision, they'll move on to that. Hospitality is the most important thing. It's neglected in India, but now this. Finally, the government of India has focused on hospitality and tourism, I believe.
We are powering hospitality and tourism across the Middle East and in all these areas. Why isn't it that we are doing it ourselves here is a big question. I'm compelled to take another break, Kishorji and Dr. Kiran. So we'll pick this up soon after that. The coverage continues. Viewers, stay with us.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
All right, let's start this bulletin with the top story that we are tracking today. Starting today, consumers can expect major relief as reduced GST rates on over 375 items could come into effect. From kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next generation GST, or what the PM Modi termed GST Bachat Utsav, marks a significant overhaul. Essential goods and medicines now attract lower taxes, with over 50 items moved to the zero tax bracket. Meanwhile, luxury and sin goods will face a consolidated 40% GST rate. The Prime Minister said that the GST reforms would not only lighten the burden on households, but also strengthen India's position as a magnet for investment and haven for the entrepreneurs. PM Modi also renewed his call for Swadeshi push, urging the people to promote made in India products.
सरकार ने 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम को टैक्स फ्री करके एक उपहार दिया और स्वाभाविक है जब 12 लाख रुपयों का इनकम टैक्स में राहत हो जाए तो मध्यम वर्ग के जीवन में तो कितना बड़ा बदलाव आता है, कितनी सरलता सुविधा हो जाती है। और अब गरीबों की भी बारी है, न्यू मिडिल क्लास की बारी है। अब गरीब को, न्यू मिडिल क्लास को एक तरह से डबल बोनांजा मिल रहा है। हमें हर घर को स्वदेशी का प्रतीक बनाना है, हर दुकान को स्वदेशी से सजाना है। गर्व से कहो ये स्वदेशी है, गर्व से कहो मैं स्वदेशी खरीदता हूं, मैं स्वदेशी सामान की बिक्री भी करता हूं। ये हर भारतीय का मिजाज बनना चाहिए। हम नागरिक देवो भवः, नागरिक देवो भवः के जिस मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म में इसकी साफ झलक दिखाई देती है। अगर हम इनकम टैक्स में छूट और जीएसटी में छूट को जोड़ दें तो एक साल में जो निर्णय हुए हैं उससे देश के लोगों को 2.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा की बचत होगी। और तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूं ये बचत उत्सव है। साथियों, विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य तक पहुंचने के लिए हमें आत्मनिर्भरता के रास्ते पर चलना ही होगा।
अभी तमाम रिफॉर्म्स हुए हैं, मगर थोड़ा सा मैं बात करना चाह रहा था इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स जो हुए हैं मोदी जी के अंडर। अभी हाल फिलहाल में GST 2 GST का रैशनलाइजेशन हुआ है, बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है। इनकम टैक्स को रेट्स को कमी आई है पिछले बजट में, बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है। कॉर्पोरेट रेट टैक्स कट किया। तो इन रिफॉर्म्स के पीछे क्या विजन था, क्या थिंकिंग थी मोदी जी की?
देखिए, आप GST के अभी हुए सुधार के बारे में मैं बाद में बात करूंगा। GST की चर्चा कांग्रेस की सरकार थी तब से होती थी। श्री चिदम्बरम वित्त मंत्री थे तब भी हुई, श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी वित्त मंत्री थे तब भी हुई। कई बार कांग्रेस से गुमराह कर रही है कि ये तो हमारा आइडिया है। ठीक है भाई, आपका आइडिया है तो इंप्लीमेंट क्यों नहीं हुआ? राज्य विरोध करते थे। राज्य विरोध किस चीज का करते थे? राज्य विरोध जिस चीज का करते थे वो चीज देश की जनता को समझनी चाहिए। सभी को मालूम था कि GST आने से राज्यों के रिसोर्सेस में एक प्रकार का रिजर्व होगा, कमी आएगी। वो कमी की भरपाई के लिए उस वक्त राज्य केंद्र से गारंटी मांगते थे, जो कांग्रेस ने नहीं दी, राज्यों ने सहमति नहीं दी और GST के रिफॉर्म नहीं हुए।
The GST reform, sir, do you think it has a long-lasting impact for the common man? How do you think it will pan out once it is, of course, it's going to get operative on 22nd of September?
GST is a very big reform. There are two elements to it. One element is basically reducing the rates on so many items, especially the items which are consumed by us from in our day-to-day needs. Second is the very old problems which we inherited from the excise, from so many different types of taxes that were there. GST simplified that, and this reforms basically further simplifies a lot many things. I would also like to point out one very important thing. Since 1947, when we have had so many prime ministers, did any prime minister put a large goal, a big goal like making our country Viksit Bharat? first time we have a Prime Minister who has given that goal, put a timeline to it, and has made all of us work in one single direction to achieve that goal. It's a very big, very, very big thing, and that's how big, if you look at the history of any country which has achieved a high level of development, they have all had a leader who puts the entire country's energies in one direction.
But putting very, very important items, everyday use items, into this GST list, I mean, we know that the Prime Minister always thinks about the common man as well, but practically speaking, how much is it expected to impact everyday lives?
Significantly. Take the life of a common citizen. Practically every food item, practically everything which is used.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to our special coverage, GST 2.0, the biggest Bachat Utsav, the biggest reform that's kicked in the recent years, easing the pressure on our wallet, but also perhaps giving us more options. Can we just now afford the next higher upgrade or perhaps a better model of the same brand? Or is it possible to just not just consume more, but to divert what we are spending on certain consumption towards adding to that staple, to perhaps fueling that aspiration and helping ourselves to a better life? Is this what that this GST Bachat Utsav can do to us as the Aam Aadmi? From the kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next-gen GST, or what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, the GST Bachat Utsav, where Nagrik Devo Bhava is the mantra, it marks a significant overhaul. Let's try and understand this, the key sectors where the benefits will manifest. GST on gyms and fitness centers has been reduced from 18% to 5%. There's a GST cut on yoga classes as well. Spa and salon services to become cheaper. So that haircut, that trim, perhaps also a facial, all of this becomes cheaper on the pocket. But what does that mean? That you can add one more service to the list. Can you afford that? Is that going to make our life better? Healthcare on GST. Healthcare is 0% GST on life-saving drugs. All individual life and health insurance policies. GST on essential medicines has been reduced from 12% to 5%. There is no GST on treatment and disposal of biomedical waste, and that's been cut from 12% to 5%. So these are all aspects with respect to healthcare where there is a huge boost. Those who are dithering from going for a health insurance or a life insurance because of the GST rates, will they now start insuring their lives, insuring their health? Will they now take the plunge? And how much of a boost will that be to the entire insurance business and the insurance industry? We have to wait and watch, because there are a lot of jobs that the insurance sector also creates. Automobiles, the GST is down from 28% to 18% on cars in the affordable segment. That means anything that is less than 1500 cc. So at 1496 cc, are you going to pay 10% lesser? But cars which are above 1500 cc, luxury, that fall into the luxury bracket, there is a 5 to 6% differential too, despite that slab moving from 28% to 40%. Now, there is also lower GST on bikes up to 350 cc from 28% to 18%. So a 10% drop in prices. So a car or a bike that is costing $1.5 lakh will now be 15,000 rupees cheaper. And does that now suddenly make it affordable for that person who thought that, oh, I don't think I can aspire for that bike because I can't afford that 15,000 extra on the EMI, on the loan? Does that now just become reachable for the person? So an aspirational lifestyle, an improvement in the quality or the type of bike that person is going to ride, and perhaps a sense of, I have also moved up in life. So that fueling that emotion, that EQ into the person, the average Bharatiya, is that what's going to be the biggest fillip in boosting that person's confidence to aspire for more, to work harder, to strive for more? A flat 40% GST, no cess on large cars. That is also reducing cost. Like I was mentioning earlier, on large cars, we are paying anywhere between 46 to 50%, including the cess. So GST plus cess, etc. but in this case now it is flat 40% and no cess. So that also comes down by about 6 to 8%. So at 50 lakhs, if you are spending about 10% less, that's a lot of money that a person can save. Perhaps that will help them add on to the accessories or look at something else where they could spend that income or that disposable income somewhere else. Rural economy, the GST on tractors, 1800cc, less than 1800cc, greater than 1800cc, that's been reduced to 5%. Tractor parts, tires, hydraulic pumps at 5%. GST on sprinklers, drip irrigation, harvesting, all of that has also dropped. So there is a big shift there, from 12% to 5%. Machinery cut from 12% to 5%. So at various levels, even in the rural economy, there is going to be a big spurt in consumption. That's the expectation because of greater disposable income in the hands of the average farmer in the rural area or the resident in rural areas. Daily essentials, UHT milk, roti, paratha, paneer, all exempted from GST. You know, GST on dry fruits and diabetic foods has also been cut from 12% to 5%. Fish, fruit pulp, milk beverages, all are working at lowered taxes, and those numbers are only going to reduce the monthly household budget, allowing the homemaker to try and also add more to the list of things that make up the shelf in the kitchen. That perhaps towards a healthier lifestyle, a better lifestyle. Packaging and logistics. Most packaging materials are now taxed at 5%. GST on commercial goods vehicles has been cut from 28% to 18%. That gives a huge fillip to those who are looking at commercial vehicles for their livelihood, flying, or those who are also wanting to change their commercial vehicles. There is an incentive now because there is a cap on how long these commercial vehicles can fly on the roads. Paper bags, cardboard cartons, now taxed at 5%. Now, so that will also lend itself towards the price differential or reducing prices, and that's why some of our experts believe it's not just the absolute cost or the MRP. There will also be an incremental benefit, and you would see further reduction in prices because the input cost towards these materials and towards these packaged goods is also overall going to come down. Let's try and go across to our reporters. They are spread across. Pallavi Ghosh is in Delhi, joining us from the Bengali market. Manoj Sharma is joining us from a grocery shop in Bhopal. Arun Dhanta is live from Noida's automobile showroom. So we will drive the luxury and the speciality with Arun in just a bit. We need to see you speak to people who are upgrading their models just because the prices have come down. Suddenly those luxury models or the upgraded models become affordable. Arun will come to you in a bit. But the staples first, at the shop front. Pallavi, where in Bengali market? Puja ka din hai, mithai. Is it cheaper?
Yeah, and Anand, trust a Bengali to always sniff their way through to a mithai shop. I'm just going to try and speak to him only. क्या आज ज़्यादा मीठा, क्या लोग आके कह रहे हैं कि आज कुछ ज़्यादा मीठा हो जाए? जीएसटी का कितना असर पड़ेगा?
जीएसटी का बहुत अच्छा असर पड़ा है जी, और मतलब सराहनीय काम है सरकार द्वारा, और एक सभी वर्ग को, चाहे वो अपर है चाहे वो नीचे है, किसी क्लास का आदमी है, उसको बड़ा फ़र्क पड़ेगा। लाइफ सेविंग ड्रग्स पे उन्होंने जीएसटी हटा दिया है। जो रोज़मर्रा की ज़रूरतों की चीज़ें थी, जैसे हम खाली डब्बा लेते थे वो 18% पे था, हम मिठाई बेचते थे 5% पे, तो अब वो हम 5% में मिठाई का डब्बा मिलेगा तो हमें भी बड़ा फर्क पड़ेगा। इससे क्या होता है, महंगाई कम होती है जी थोड़ी सी। लोगों को जो मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज़ हैं उनको बहुत ज़्यादा असर पड़ेगा। जो ज़्यादातर भारत में जितने भी लोग रहते हैं मिडिल क्लास फैमिली, उनको बहुत अच्छा असर पड़ेगा। और ये तो एक सरकार का,
तो जैसे अगर लोगों को समझाने के लिए, जैसे अगर ये कलाकंद था, अगर मैं कहूँ कि 1 किलो जैसे 250 रुपये होता था, तो अब जीएसटी स्लैश के बाद 18 से 5% हो गया। ये 250 रुपये का कलाकंद अब कितने का हो जाएगा?
देखिए, हम तो मिठाई जो भी है हम 5% भी बेच रहे थे।
अच्छा,
हमारा रैंडम था, लेकिन हमें क्या है, इनपुट जो आ रहा था
वो सस्ता हो गया। जैसे पनीर खोया
हो गया है। जैसे नमकीन हम अगर कोई खरीदते थे, बिस्किट लेते थे, वो 18% है, अब वो 5% के स्लैब में आ गया है। या नमकीन है वो 5% के स्लैब में आ गया है। तो उससे क्या, अगर हमें 5% सस्ता हो तो हम भी 5% मिठाई सस्ती करते हैं।
ये सबसे अहम बात है, क्योंकि सरकार बार बार यही कह रही है कि जो लाभ है जीएसटी 2.0 का, वो नागरिक के पास जाए। जैसे प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था ना, नागरिक देवो भव। सिर्फ मैन्युफैक्चरर्स या दुकान वाले या ट्रेडर्स को फ़ायदा ना हो, आप ये इंश्योर करेंगे कि कंज्यूमर्स हैं, जैसे मेरे जैसे लोग मिठाई खरीदने आएंगे, हमारे लिए भी उसका लाभ होगा?
देखिए, ये तो आप सोचिए मत कि जनता को लाभ नहीं होगा, जनता को 100% लाभ होगा इस चीज़ का।
अच्छा।
कोई अब जैसे मैंने आज घी नहीं खरीदा देसी घी, तो मेरे सप्लायर ने कहा बाबूजी आप मंडे को लेना, क्योंकि मंडे को 12% की जगह 5% हो रहा है।
आज आपने घी खरीदा सुबह सुबह?
अब मैं खरीद रहा हूँ, अभी खरीद रहा हूँ मैंने
अभी आप घी लेने जा रहे हो?
तो आज मुझे वो 7% का प्रॉफिट होगा उसके अंदर।
अच्छा, 7%
तो उससे क्या होता है, अगर मैं रेट बढ़ाना चाहता था तो मैं रेट नहीं बढ़ाऊंगा। तो उससे क्या होता है कि एक स्टेबल रहती है, अब 1 साल के लिए रेट स्टेबल हो जाएंगे मेरे।
चलो ठीक है। देखिए, घी के नाम पे और जीएसटी के नाम पे आपके चेहरे पे मुस्कुराहट तो आई है।
कंज्यूमर्स के फेस पे कि उनके भी मुंह में घी शक्कर के और दाम नहीं बढ़ा रहे हैं। सी रेट कट से ज्यादा
आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर, हमारे ऑफिस से सब लोग आपको कह रहे हैं। तो आप मीठा खाओ, हम भी सस्ती मिठाई खिलाएंगे।
So Pallavi, I'll come back to you in a bit. What we're going to do is, since you're there in Bengali market at a sweet shop, you know what you need to get all of us in the office when you're making your way back. So, but we'll leave the selection to you. But going across to Bhopal, Manoj ji, नमस्ते। सब सस्ता है कि नहीं? लोग ज्यादा खर्च रहे हैं कि नहीं? कहाँ खड़े हैं आप? Where are you?
Anand, right now I am at a 5 number market in Bhopal, and you can see grocery shops, particularly from shampoo to soaps, hair oil, everything is cheaper by this new regime of GST. And let us understand from a shopkeeper himself, sir, ये आपके जो मैं देख रहा हूँ कि सुबह से आपके पास काफी लोग आ रहे हैं, अल्टीमेटली जो नई GST रेट का फायदा लोगों तक पहुँचना शुरू हो गया, और कैसे?
जीएसटी का फायदा तो पहुंच गया है। वो तो इन्होंने जब ये ऐलान करा था उस समय से ही वैसे व्यापारियों ने देना शुरू कर दिया था, क्योंकि कस्टमर तो बोल रहे हैं कि सस्ता करो जीएसटी, तो हमको देना पड़ता है। माल रोकने से क्या फायदा?
रोजमर्रा के इस्तेमाल की हर चीज आपकी शॉप पे है। तो मतलब इसमें मतलब एक आम आदमी को फर्क पड़ना लाजमी है।
हाँ, हमारे यहाँ तो खाने पीने की क्या, नहाना धोना, खाना पीना, चाय नाश्ता, सभी चीजें, डिनर तो ब्रेकफास्ट, सभी चीजें हमारे यहाँ से मिलती हैं, है ना। तो उससे
दाम कम हुआ है क्या?
शैम्पू है, शैम्पू लोग यूज करते हैं, शैम्पू टूथपेस्ट 7% का कम हो गया, घी में 7% कम हो गया, पेस्टों में 7% कम हो गया, 12 था 5 हो गया ना। तो सभी चीज़ों में फ़ायदा होगा कस्टमर को बहुत। ये चीज़ें कम से कम 25% है जो उनका अमाउंट बनता है मंथली, उसका ये चीज़ें सब 25% अमाउंट का रहता है करीब करीब।
तो आनंद, वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड 25% ऑफ एनी हाउस होल्ड बजट इज ग्रोसरी शॉप, एंड व्हाट ही इज सेइंग दैट इट इज गोइंग टू मेक थिंग्स चीपर बाय एटलीस्ट 20 to 25%. वी हैव गॉट सम सम
हाँ जी जाइए।
अरे क्या बात है। तो ये जीएसटी की जो नई रजीम है, इसको लेके आप क्या कहोगे? आपने जो सामान खरीदा इसमें कैसे फर्क पड़ेगा?
टैक्स अगर कम होगा तो जरूर कुछ फायदा हमको होगा, ये बात तो सही है। और बाकी तब आज से लागू हुआ है, देखते हैं कि क्या क्या बेनिफिट हमको मिल रहा है।
इसमें सरकार का ये कहना है कि एक जो ग्रोसरी शॉप होती है उसमें एक हाउस होल्ड बजट करीब 20% तक उसका असर पड़ता है। तो आपको लगता है कि जो तमाम चीजें कम होंगी, जीएसटी का जो नया रेट है वो आपकी जिंदगी में फर्क लाएगा?
ऑफ कोर्स लाएगा फर्क, क्योंकि 20% कम नहीं होता है, इसलिए फर्क तो लाएगा।
जैसे जीएसटी की कौन सी चीजें जो आपको लगता है अफेक्ट करती थी?
आई थिंक दैनिक जीवन में बिकने वाली सारी सामान की जरूरत है जिसका फर्क पड़ता है। हेलो,
आपके ग्राहक तो बड़े मतलब उत्साह में दिखाई दे रहे हैं।
नहीं साहब, इतना उत्साह की बात ही सभी लोगों के उत्साह के लिए बात है कि सबको बचत होगी। महीने में जो अपन खर्च करते हैं उससे कुछ बचत होगी, तो उस बचत से कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा कुछ काम होगा, लोगों की परचेसिंग पावर बढ़ेगी।
जो एक लोगों के मन में कंफ्यूजन है कि
एब्सोल्यूट टर्म्स में जरा ग्राउंड पे बता दें कौन सी चीजें ज्यादा चीप हो गई हैं। उनसे पूछिए, देखिए टूथपेस्ट हो गया, शैम्पू हो गया, कितना फर्क है उसमें?
एक तो चीज कितना फर्क है जो आपकी शॉप पे मिलने वाली चीजें हैं जिन पे जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल था, जो ग्राहक खरीदता था, उसमें कितना फर्क आया? कैसे हम समझाना चाहते हैं अपने दर्शकों को कि उनको कैसे फायदा होने वाला है?
नहीं, जैसे शैम्पू हुआ, साबुन हुआ, इन सब पे जो पहले 18% था वो 5% हो गया। कॉस्मेटिक आइटम पे ज्यादातर पे सब पे 18 से 5% हो गया। आटे पे आटा दाल चावलों पे इन पे था नहीं। जो 1 किलो की पैकिंग, 2 किलो की पैकिंग, 5 किलो की पैकिंग थी उस पर जीएसटी था, तो उन्होंने मेरे ख्याल से खत्म कर दिया कि नहीं करा, मालूम नहीं, जब आएगा तब क्लियर मालूम पड़ेगा। बाकी
पर उनको पूछे जो पुराना स्टॉक है उस पे भी दाम कम करके बेच रहे हैं।
हुआ, तेल हुआ, इन सब पे कम हो गया।
एक बड़ा कंफ्यूजन है कि भाई पुराना स्टॉक आपके पास रखा है तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि जो वेंडर शॉपकीपर्स हैं वो क्या करेंगे कि लोगों को, ग्राहकों को पुराने स्टॉक की चीजें, चूंकि उन्होंने जीएसटी ज्यादा दिया है, और वैसे ही दे दें, ऐसा है क्या?
नहीं, ऐसा भी कई जगह हो सकता है, क्यों नहीं हो सकता। अपन तो इसके लिए ग्राहक को, दुकानदार से बोलना पड़ेगा कि आप जीएसटी कम हो गया तो इस पर जीएसटी कम लीजिए। अब जैसे कई चीजों पे,
लेकिन आपका सीए ये तो कर ही सकता ना। आप अपने क्वार्टरली जब क्लेम करते हैं, ज्यादा में लिया था उसको एडजस्ट करके आगे आप नए रेट के साथ, कम रेट के साथ क्लेम
वही कर। अब जैसे कई चीजों 5% थी तो आज भी 5% पे ही है, उस पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा। अब जो चीजें जो ज्यादा जीएसटी की थी वो कम हो गई है तो हम लोग कस्टमर को कम करके देंगे जीएसटी।
जैसे शैम्पू में शैम्पू की एमआरपी और अब जीएसटी गिरने के बाद क्या फर्क है प्राइस जो चार्ज कर रहे हैं? उन्होंने खुद कहा, देखिए 12% से 7%, 5%।
बड़ा अहम सवाल पूछा आनंद कि आपकी शैम्पू की, फॉर एग्जांपल शैम्पू की बोतल है, उसकी एमआरपी डली है, एक आम ग्राहक आया, उसने उस एमआरपी पे सामान खरीद लिया, उसको कैसे, मतलब वो जीएसटी कैसे कम होगी? मैं बताता हूँ।
अब जैसे कोई शैम्पू 200 रुपए का है, उससे पहले 18% टैक्स लगता था, अब वो 5% हो गया, -13%। 200 रुपए का 26, तो उसको 174 का शैम्पू पड़ेगा, उसको 174 का पड़ेगा।
तो आप
मतलब आप इंश्योर करेंगे हर जी आनंद
नहीं मनोज, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात उन्होंने बताई है कि देखिए दैट वाज द थिंग कि जितना सितंबर का स्टॉक है, स्टॉकिस्ट जितने हैं, रिटेलर जो हैं, वो कम से कम 15-20 दिन का स्टॉक एक साथ लेके चलते हैं। स्टॉकिस्ट भी वहाँ माल चढ़ा के जाते हैं। सो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस देयर? 22 सितंबर से आर द मैन्युफैक्चरर्स आल्सो सेइंग दैट ओके द इनपुट क्रेडिट विल कम डाउन, because there is no compulsion on revised packaging, but there is a compulsion on reducing price. मैं वही आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ कि पैकेजिंग पे भले ही दाम ज़्यादा लिखे, पर क्या वहाँ पर जीएसटी के दाम कम हो रहे हैं कि नहीं? क्या वहाँ पर दुकानदार ये कह रहे हैं देखिए आप कम दीजिए, आपको डिस्काउंट है क्योंकि जीएसटी कम हो गया? जी, मैं वही पूछ रहा था।
दिस इज व्हाट ही इज सेइंग, बिकॉज ये उनका कहना यही है, मतलब समझना ये चाह रहे हैं कि अल्टीमेटली जो आपकी जो कॉस्ट डली है और उस पर अब जीएसटी कम हो गया, वो कस्टमर तक जाएगा या नहीं जाएगा?
नहीं, कुछ जगह जाएगा, कुछ जगह नहीं जाएगा। यदि कोई दुकानदार यदि उसको चोरी छुपे करके बेचेगा, ग्राहक को, कंज्यूमर को अंधेरे में रख के सामान देगा, तो वो तो दुकानदार पैसा बचाएगा। इसके लिए कस्टमर को जागरूक होना पड़ेगा। कस्टमर तो बोलना पड़ेगा भैया ये कम रेट हो गया है तो हमें कम में दीजिए।
So आनंद, कस्टमर अवेयरनेस इज द की। If they are aware, they can always ask the shopkeeper that this GST is 5% from 12%, and you have to give me this particular article at the rate of 5%.
Thank you for that, Manoj. And I think that is important for our viewers to understand that a lot of brands have got the leeway from the government that you do not need to change the price today on the 22nd of September on your packaging, because it would have been a packaging nightmare to recall stocks, repackage them and to send them back. But you must ensure that the benefit is passed on, and that has to come at the retail price point. So you need to go ahead and ask and perhaps choose those brands that are extending that, rather than choose those brands that are not extending it, and buy from shops who are passing on that benefit to you as viewers, as consumers, and not from those traditional shops which may not be passing it on to you. But that's your right. That's why Nagarik Devo Bhava. Aneri, let's just come back to you in Hyderabad. Arun, coming to you at the automobile showroom in a bit. We'll spend some time with you. Just hang on. We'll finish with Aneri and also Shantanu at these grocery stores and see if they're actually passing on the benefit. Is it happening in Hyderabad, Aneri? Because a lot of these grocery stores and stockists stock for 15-20 days in advance. So the September stock is with them. But the brands are supposed to pass on the GST benefit to the consumer despite the pricing on the label. Is that happening on ground? Aneri?
Well, Anand, that's the larger question that the grocery store owners here also have been raising this question, because they say that they weren't aware of the new GST reforms, because these products like the dairy products, the milk, paneer and other dairy products which they had purchased earlier itself, now they will have to sell at a lower price and they will have to argue with the customers is what they have to say. We'll just try and get a word from the grocery store owner here. आज से जो है वो नए GST reforms जो है वो लागू होने वाले हैं। काफ़ी सारा अनाउंसमेंट किया है, डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स पे नील कर दिया है, ज़ीरो कर दिया है। आपके पास, आप जो कह रहे हैं कि आपने पहले से स्टोर करके रखा है, तो आप अब उसको पुराने दाम पे बेचेंगे या नए दाम पे बेचेंगे?
हमारे को तो नए दाम से बेचना पड़ता, वो जीएसटी नया से स्लैब हुआ उसके हिसाब से बेचना पड़ता, पर हमारा कंपनी वाले से हमारा जीएसटी क्लेम नहीं होता। वो हमारे जेब से भरना पड़ता। गवर्नमेंट को कम से कम 1-2 महीने का 3 महीने का हमारे को टाइम देना चाहिए। जो हमारा पुराना माल जो पुराने रेट से खरीदा था वो हम पुराने हिसाब से बेच सकते हैं, नहीं तो हमारे को इसमें जो मिलने का 3-4% का रहता है, उल्टा हम 7% 10% कहाँ से भरना, वो हमारे को प्रॉब्लम होता।
तो अभी कॉमन
पर उनके सीए तो वो इनपुट क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकते हैं, नहीं?
आपके सीए जो है वो अब इस अकाउंटेंट जो है वो इसको क्लेम तो करेंगे ही ना, बिल्कुल।
ये जो चेंज है वो तो रिफ्लेक्ट
मुश्किल होता हमारा क्लेम होना। वो बड़े बड़े कंपनियां मुश्किल है सुनना। अगर गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ सपोर्ट करा तो हमारा जीएसटी क्लेम हो सकता है, नहीं तो मुश्किल है।
तो अभी वो पास ऑन कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं?
सरकार ने तो बहुत कुछ। आप ये जो प्रोडक्ट्स है जो आपने कहा कि आपने ये जुलाई में खरीदा था, तो अब आप ये नए दाम में बेचेंगे या पुराने दाम में बेचेंगे?
अभी जो जुलाई का जो परचेजिंग है वो भी हमारे को नए रेट से बेचना।
नए रेट से बेचेंगे।
हाँ।
So Anand, very clearly, though it is, they say that it's a loss for them, but then they say that they will have to sell it at the new pricing which is implemented from today. So
just ask them, Aneri. Just ask them. Let's look at some more FMCGs like shampoo, oil, toothpaste, toothbrush, and all of that. Have there been brands that have come to them and said कि चलेगा कोई बात नहीं, आपका पुराना जो भी स्टॉक है उसको भी आप नए रेट में बेचिए, जो आपने हमें दिया है वो हम आपको वापस करेंगे? ऐसे कुछ ब्रांड्स हैं? आर देयर एनी ब्रांड्स हु हैव डन दैट?
We'll just try and get a word from him about that. तो अभी डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स हो गया, जैसे अभी टूथपेस्ट है, हेयर ऑयल है, शैम्पू है, तो आपको अब जो नए जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स, जीएसटी कट है, तो आपको क्या वो कंपनी से ऐसा कोई आश्वासन मिला है कि हम प्रोडक्ट वापस ले लेंगे और आप नए रेट से बेच सकते हैं? ऐसा कुछ बातचीत हुई है आपकी?
नहीं, अभी तक कोई भी कंपनी हमारा से कोई संपर्क नहीं कर रहा है। खाली मारिको वाला नया लिस्ट भी जाया, उसमें भी ये नहीं बोला कि आपके पास जो पुराना माल पड़ा है उसका हम क्लेम देंगे। उन्होंने खाली नया प्राइस लिस्ट डाल दिया पीडीएफ पे, बोला कुछ भी नहीं, ने कुछ मैसेज डाला। और अभी तक जो हमारा आज भी कुछ माल आया है, ओल्ड सिटी का एक ब्रांडेड जो ये डेयरी प्रोडक्ट है, उन्होंने आज भी हमारे को नया रेट नहीं दिया, पुराने रेट से भी डाला। आज ही खरीदा है आपने? आज भी हम जो ओल्ड सिटी का बड़ा प्रोडक्ट है, बड़ा कंपनी है, उन्होंने भी आज भी हमारे को पुराने रेट से माल आया।
ओके, सो नए रेट से माल देने के लिए
वो उनके बच्चे आते हैं, उनको अब कुछ भी मालूम नहीं। आज भी हम वही पुराने रेट से भी खरीदे।
Acha, so Aneri, now this is an important story. What I'm going to request you to do is to, we're going to come out of live and just do this. Which are these brands which are still dropping produce at the older prices, at the older GST rates? Because that is not supposed to be done. And I think that should be reflected to the CBIT, and they should know that there are brands that are doing it. And if there are brands which have not issued the pass on of the GST benefits and are still putting out new rate prices, but the shopkeepers are at a discomfort, how is the government going to address this? And this is a fair question to ask. These are all problems on ground which are happening. So just talk to that person at length, and let's do that story and then show it across in a bit, Aneri. Thank you for that. Going across to Shantanu and ask Shantanu in Noida. Is there clarity in Noida? शांतनु, लोगों के पास क्या क्लैरिटी है? जो वहाँ खरीदने आ रहे हैं, क्या वो सामने से पूछ रहे हैं भाई इसका तो जीएसटी कम करके दाम दो मुझे? और वहाँ पर आर दे पासिंग इट ऑन द शॉपकीपर्स?
Yeah, we have a very interesting story from a buyer only, and he is going to tell you that he has bought a particular product, and that particular product he has bought it at the same price before it was during the old GST regime. So we are joined by him. You tell about that particular product कि कौन सा product था वो जिसको आपने पहले भी जिस प्राइस में खरीदा था आज भी वो प्राइस में खरीद रहे हो?
राइट. सो अभी जैसे बोल रहे हैं कि नवरात्रि चल रहे हैं, राइट, तो मैं ये कपूर लेने आया हूँ, बराबर. अब एक कपूर मेरा 150 रुपये का है, 50 ग्राम 150 रुपये, और ये पहले भी इतने का ही था, अभी भी इतने का ही है, राइट. और सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन है, आप शॉपकीपर से पूछो कि कौन सा ऐसा आइटम है जो रीलेबल किया गया हो, राइट. अभी हम कह रहे हैं कि ज़्यादा मिलेगा, कम पैसे में ज़्यादा खरीद लोगे आप, तो ऐसा कोई भी आइटम नहीं है जिस पे मुझे रीलेबलिंग दिख रही हो. हाँ, तो कोई भी नहीं है. Shantanu, you need to tell him that the government has given brands and manufacturers time for relabeling. सेम प्राइस में पहले था, सेम प्राइस में अभी है, तो मुझे रीलेबलिंग तो नहीं दिख रही. हाँ, तो क्योंकि
टाइम उनको मिला गया है मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को रीलेबलिंग के लिए.
बट अगर जीएसटी से कम होता है तो बहुत अच्छी बात है यार.
But they are eligible. You should tell him that he is eligible for a price cut as far as the GST is concerned. The GST slabs are applicable even on the old label pricing. That's what the government has said. Shantanu, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell the consumer
and
that.
at the same time, I think he's aware of that fact because
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, the main thing is that you are eligible for the GST cut if you are getting any particular product in the not as per the new GST price. Then you can directly ask the shopkeeper to give you that particular product in that old price. And one more thing that you are showing, I want our viewers to also see that this particular product here, as he mentioned earlier, the price here you can see exactly the price is 115. Earlier it was also at 115 and now it is exactly at 115, and that exactly he had also cited. Let us try to understand from him also that what exactly he felt during that time, even after knowing that exactly the GST 2.0, after GST 2.0 the prices were reduced.
So point is, I do not know, I do not have that education which is provided by anybody, right? Currently कुछ अगर कम हो रहा है तो वो पता कैसे चलेगा? मुझे शॉपकीपर से मांगना है, बट वो मुझे पता नहीं ना कि क्या मांगना है, कैसे मांगना है, कितना मांगना है, वो एजुकेशन कौन प्रोवाइड करेगा?
नहीं, उनको ये पूछो कि वहाँ जो शॉप फ्रंट है, जो काउंटर्स हैं, वहाँ पर आटा के सामने दाम नहीं लिखे हैं।
हर किसी को अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है। अभी अगर कोई दूध लेने आ रहा है, कोई ब्रेड लेने आ रहा है,
वही चीज, लेकिन हर चीज के सामने एक MRP पे तो लिखा हुई है ना चीजें।
बिल्कुल।
वहाँ काउंटर्स पे नहीं लेबल किया हुआ है कि पहले 115 रुपए का था, अब 110 रुपए का है, हाइपोथेटिकली।
No, actually here, Anand, exactly here there has been no labeling done.
There is no labeling done.
In fact, we were earlier at the mother.
Okay, so I think you've spoken to a consumer. I think we should try and get to the owner of this store wherever you are and ask them why is it that labeling is not done, because they are supposed to ensure that this labeling is done. I've got Mr. S.C. Garg and Ajay Duaji, former Finance Secretary, Finance and Economic Affairs Secretary Bharat, and also Ajay Dua, former Commerce Secretary, with me this morning. Namaste and thank you for your patience to our guests. If with your kind permission, if we can also go, sir, to Arun Dhanta at the automobile store. We're trying to understand this because on ground, sir, there are certain caveats that have come through. There are certain instructions that have come from the government that you're supposed to pass on and inform the consumer. So be it in Hyderabad, be it in Bhopal, be it in Noida, that is not being done as of now, at least with the consumables. FMCGs at the Kirana stores, it's not happening. Arun, thank you for your patience. I'll come to you. Let's just get one comment from Mr. Garg and Ajay Dua, and then we'll go to Arun at the automobile store. So, Mr. Garg, your thoughts, sir. You see what the consumers are saying and what the retailers at the end are saying. भाई मैंने तो ज़्यादा GST दे के खरीदा था, अब मुझे पास ऑन मुझे कोई इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं दिया गया, बट मुझे कहा गया कि सस्ते में बेचो. कंज्यूमर कह रहा है भाई MRP चेंज नहीं है और यहाँ तो पुराने दाम पे ही बेच रहे हैं. There are brands which are offloading stocks at the older rates today. Mr. Garg.
So this is the reality of the situation. You see, it's at a very high level, at the level of the Finance Ministry or the Prime Minister. You may have a certain intent to do certain kind of benefits passing. But when it comes to millions of traders, manufacturers, we have 4 crore retailers and the wholesalers in the country, right? That does not get transmitted so easily, and the complexity of the whole situation also adds to it. You are showing this kind of thing. So the manufacturers or the wholesalers are passing on to the product to the retailer. Even today he was saying that he received at the old price and he did not get any reduction in the purchase cost for him. So if it is not reducing for him, how can he pass on any price saving to the consumers? Right. The other one was also saying the other kind of complexity. The traders are also in the business to make some money. They are not in charity. So if he sees a customer who is not aware, he'll pass it on at the MRP, old MRP. If he sees that the other one is aware, and then he may reduce the price for it. So the complexity of the life with crores of consumers and crores of businessmen trying to sort of implement this kind of discounting or the reduction is that complexity which is not understood by our policymakers. Any assumption that you can simply make it arithmetical passing or the benefit of passing or saving to the people is not really very sound assumption. Just to give you one more comment. we should also place it into the wider context. India's consumption, private consumption, the people's consumption is about 205 lakh crores a year. This is the last year 24-25 data. If you pass on the benefit, which is tax benefit, which is about 2.5 lakh crores, it's only about 1% of the total consumption. It's not that great. So expecting that there is a revolution happening is and this is what is reflected in February. The 1 lakh crore income tax bonanza was given, and we were told that there would be a consumption boom. You look at now 5 months data which we have got it. The GST collection in the month of from April onward to July, the data, August data which is available, in last 3 months the growth is only 6.5%. Which is even lower than the nominal rate of growth. So actually the consumption, the boost is not there. It is. So I think it's a very complex situation. We should understand that it's a good thing to pass on the government tax from the consumer point of view, but it also has enormous implications for government finances. We can discuss it later.
Ji, I'll come back to you, Garg Sahab, but I think you're making some fair points. But the other thing is that unless there is a push, there is a thrust to get it implemented, it will keep getting dragged on. Is this going to be a pain for the first 2-3 days before things settle down a bit, or do you think this is going to reflect on ground? Ajay Duaji, do you concur with Mr. Garg?
Thank you very much, Anand. I think the time gap between the decision and implementation perhaps could have been a bit longer.
Okay.
Trying to do it within 15 days of taking the decision, an important decision. I don't think Subhash is disagreeing with that. That's a significant decision which has been taken, because at one go, you are trying to reduce the slab. You have reduced most items, brought them into either 0 or 5%. But if we wanted to succeed in making sure that the profits are passed on, or the reduced taxation is passed on to the customer, we should have been a little more realistic. That 3 months' time, 2 months' time, very clearly then made out to the shopkeepers that even that you are required to label.
Right.
Why we did revise prices? We couldn't enforce that because within 2 weeks that wasn't possible. Secondly, the enforcement, if there are 4 crore, 40 million shopkeepers, we don't have that machinery, and it's impossible to do shop by shop inspection and find out. It has to be a sample one. And in a sample one, you would find 2 guys are passing it on. The guys who would be passing it on, who found that the cost of holding the item, inventory cost, is larger than the profit which they would have made. So it would vary from product to product.
Correct.
And of course, how literate is the customer would also be taken into account, particularly by the pansari, that means the retail or corner shop, mom and pop shop, or a village. So these kind of things are, while totally welcoming the step which has been taken, and at one go reducing it by 2 lakh crores or 2 trillion rupees, 50,000 crores earlier. So total, as the Prime Minister mentioned, 2.5 lakh crores. More into the hands of the customers at one go is a remarkable thing.
Sir,
but the full benefit of it flow to us a little later than immediately.
Correct. I think many experts are saying this. You've been there, done that, and seen how difficult it is to implement these things. But there has got to be some amount of disruption and unsettlement before things settle a bit. Many believe that it will take this quarter for this to manifest. It will not just towards the end of the puja season, as we get closer to Diwali, perhaps it will settle. And somewhere perhaps the government also thought that the Navratra will be soon after the Pitru Paksh. Let's try and ride that consumption wave into Dussehra and Diwali and see if we can settle things by then. I don't know.
Anand, that's very fair. But let us then not immediately expect vast returns to the measure.
Correct.
Yes, the benefits would come and it is desirable, but the
what I would like to see is, sir, the MPs of all these constituencies out on the ground trying to ensure that, one, it is implemented, two, they get feedback which they send back to the Finance Ministry, to the Commerce Ministry, and also there is a real-time addressal of issues session. And also one like you said, those who are looking at offloading the stocks quickly to ride on to the new GST and the new packaging, and those who are going to sit on and say, "Lo, I'm going to profit and I'm going to try and ensure that I sell at the rates that I got to." A lot of them usually cuts prices or increase prices in the festival season. The sweet makers are saying, "I'm not going to increase prices because I'm benefiting. Sabke daam kam ho rahe hain, so I'm going to pass on by keeping the prices steady." Can others say that, okay, I'll reduce prices immediately, or I will not reduce prices and keep it stable? Those who generally tend to reduce prices. So is there going to be a balance somewhere? We have to wait and watch. We looked at the FMCGs. With your kind permission, sirs, I'm just going to go across to Arun. I've kept him waiting for about half an hour. He's at a bike showroom. So Arun, what now looks more attractive? You're at an automobile showroom, bike or a car showroom. Where are you, and what are people saying there?
Well, Anand, this is a car showroom here, and here we are in 2025. And what people are telling me here is that the prices which now people have to pay to buy cars, especially which falls in that category of 1200 cc and 4000 mm, and of course 1500 cc for the diesel, is what people used to get in 2019. So the prices which people were paying in 2019, the same price that you'll have to pay in 2025 after 6 years. So that's the difference. And also importantly, Anna, let me quickly show you preparation as they have done here. This is the first day, of course, of Navratri, and we are in Noida right now. And we'll also speak to the senior relationship manager here about the preparations and what sort of sentiments they are getting here in this regard. In fact, he's here. This is, of course, I think what people are telling me that, the buyers and the people who are planning to come here is that after puja, etc., they will be coming here. But, of course, let me give a glimpse to our viewer first from the senior relationship manager here as to what is changing on the ground. Sir, what's your name? Kya naam aapka?
Dhanush Pal.
Dhanush ji, अब जब से reduction हुआ, and I also have that, the reduced prices of the car with me, Anand. सबसे पहले आप बताइए कि रिस्पांस कैसा मिला है, कुछ बदलाव हुआ है पिछले दिनों जो आप लोग कारें सेल कर रहे थे, और जब से ये अनाउंसमेंट हुआ है उसके बाद से में क्या बदलाव हुआ है, लोगों का अप्रोच किस तरह से रहा है?
सर, इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा बदलाव हुआ है। पिछले 10-15 दिन की अगर बात करें तो जैसे नोएडा में मेन 3 डीलरशिप है यहाँ पे, और 4 डीलरशिप हैं। अब हर डीलरशिप पे 25 से 30 बुकिंग आई है पिछले 2 से 3 दिन में। तो कहीं ना कहीं जो प्राइस कट हुआ है, जीएसटी का बेनिफिट केंद्र सरकार ने दिया है, तो उसका भी बेनिफिट कस्टमरों को काफी ज्यादा मिला है।
जैसे हम ये देख रहे हैं, आपकी सबसे पहले ऑल्टो K10 है। ऑल्टो K10 का मैं जो एक्स शोरूम प्राइस देख रहा हूँ वो 369 है, 3,69,000। अब कितना इसमें ये लेटेस्ट है?
ये जो प्राइस है, अगर आप इसको देखो, ये जो 4 कॉलम है, इसमें हमारे जो मैंडेटरी चीज है, एक्स शोरूम, रजिस्ट्रेशन, इंश्योरेंस और स्मार्ट कार्ड, इनके साथ जो गाड़ी की कीमत आ रही है 4,15,688 आफ्टर जीएसटी कट, जितना गवर्नमेंट ने जीएसटी कट किया है। लेकिन मारुति ने भी इसमें अपना प्राइस कट किया है। मारुति ने भी कस्टमर को अपना बेनिफिट दिया है। 10 से 15,000 रुपए मारुति ने भी कार पे कम किया है।
अच्छा।
उसके बाद भी अभी ये गाड़ी की 4,15,688 ऑन रोड कीमत है, ऑल्टो K10 स्टैंडर्ड कार की।
ऑल्टो K10 में कितना फर्क पड़ रहा है? मतलब 70-80 हजार का फर्क है। उसके अलावा एडिशनल आप लोग दे रहे हैं?
एडिशनल मारुति ने भी दिया है।
एक्स शोरूम प्राइस,
एक्स शोरूम प्राइस में जो रिडक्शन हुआ उसकी लिस्ट बन चुकी है।
ऑन द रोड टैक्स आल्सो एंड द इंश्योरेंस आल्सो।
अभी जो अब एक्स शोरूम में जब प्राइस कम होता है तो उसका इफेक्ट रोड टैक्स पे भी आता है, क्योंकि यूपी गवर्नमेंट का रोड टैक्स 9% है। 9% होता है अकॉर्डिंग एक्स शोरूम। एक्स शोरूम पे जितना आप सपोज दैट ये 3,69,900 इसका एक्स शोरूम है, ये इसका रोड टैक्स बना 33,291 रुपए। लेकिन ये 33,291 इसके अकॉर्डिंग है। ये भी पहले ज्यादा था, कम से कम 5,000 रुपए। तो यहाँ पर भी कस्टमर को बेनिफिट मिला है। उसके बाद जीएसटी कट के बाद 4,15,688 जो प्राइस गाड़ी का आया है, उसके बाद मारुति ने अपना एक कंज्यूमर ऑफर भी दिया है इस गाड़ी पे 35,000 रुपए का डिस्काउंट।
अच्छा, आप लोग अलग से अपना ऑफर भी दे रहे हैं? मतलब 70-80 हजार इस गाड़ी पर कम हुआ है, आपका अपना ऑफर है। फिर इंश्योरेंस पे भी कम होगा, रोड टैक्स पे भी कम होगा।
उसके बाद कंज्यूमर ऑफर भी है गाड़ी पे। और ये हर एक गाड़ी पे है।
आप इनको बस ये पूछिए कि फाइनल प्राइस जो अभी 4,15,000 बता रहे हैं, ये जीएसटी कट से पहले कितना था?
35 है, किसी 40 है, 45,000 तक भी है। हमारे का वैगनार का
स्टूडियो से आपसे आनंद पूछ रहे हैं कि जो ये फाइनल 4,15,000 आप ये जो ऑन रोड प्राइस है, इसमें अगर आप हमको एक एस्टिमेट बता दें कि ये प्राइस पहले कितने का रहा होगा इसी सेम गाड़ी का, मतलब कितने 5,30,000?
आप इसमें मान के चलो अभी जो 4,15 का है, इसमें तकरीबन आप 80,000 रुपए और जोड़ो। ये पहले जी
5 लाख, मतलब 5 लाख के करीब, 5 लाख से ज्यादा एक गाड़ी थी।
जी सर।
Yeah, so that I think net I think that's the biggest point. Something like an Alto K10 standard, not specifically to a particular brand since he's there, so it's a Maruti Suzuki brand, which was costing 5 lakhs earlier on road. After everything considered, put everything when you have to take it out of the showroom, viewers. That's what. That's now at 4,15,000 plus a further discount. So it will come to about 3,75,000 because they're saying they're giving a consumer discount of 35,000 rupees further. So you see the differential, nearly a lakh and 15,000 cheaper on road and Alto K10. Now, someone who was looking at a high-end bike because they could afford about 3.8, 3.9 lakhs but could not afford 5 lakhs. Do they now move from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler? That's the change in lifestyle that could perhaps be triggered. It may take some time, 3 or 4 days, but that will happen. Dev Garg, Vice President of the Indian Rice Exporters Federation is with us. Prerna Agarwal Saxena, Founder and CEO of Eyeys and Theme Weavers Design MSME. She is also with us. We also have Mr. Subhash Garg and Ajay Duaji. I'm going to request your patience. We're compelled to take a break. We'll pick up the conversation with our guests soon as we come back. Stay with us, viewers.
Brought to you by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
All right, let's start this bulletin with the top story that we are tracking today. Starting today, consumers can expect major relief as reduced GST rates on over 375 items could come into effect. From kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next generation GST, or what the PM Modi termed GST Bachat Utsav, marks a significant overhaul. Essential goods and medicines now attract lower taxes, with over 50 items moved to the zero tax bracket. Meanwhile, luxury and sin goods will face a consolidated 40% GST rate. The Prime Minister said that the GST reforms would not only lighten the burden on households, but also strengthen India's position as a magnet for investment and haven for the entrepreneurs. PM Modi also renewed his call for Swadeshi push, urging the people to promote made in India products.
सरकार ने 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम को टैक्स फ्री करके एक उपहार दिया और स्वाभाविक है जब 12 लाख रुपयों का इनकम टैक्स में राहत हो जाए तो मध्यम वर्ग के जीवन में तो कितना बड़ा बदलाव आता है, कितनी सरलता सुविधा हो जाती है। और अब गरीबों की भी बारी है, नियो मिडिल क्लास की बारी है। अब गरीब को, नियो मिडिल क्लास को एक तरह से डबल बोनांजा मिल रहा है। हमें हर घर को स्वदेशी का प्रतीक बनाना है, हर दुकान को स्वदेशी से सजाना है। गर्व से कहो ये स्वदेशी है, गर्व से कहो मैं स्वदेशी खरीदता हूं, मैं स्वदेशी सामान की बिक्री भी करता हूं। ये हर भारतीय का मिजाज बनना चाहिए। हम नागरिक देवो भवः कि जिस मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म में इसकी साफ झलक दिखाई देती है। अगर हम इनकम टैक्स में छूट और जीएसटी में छूट को जोड़ दें तो एक साल में जो निर्णय हुए हैं उससे देश के लोगों को 2.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा की बचत होगी। और तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूं ये बचत उत्सव है। साथियों, विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य तक पहुंचने के लिए हमें आत्मनिर्भरता के रास्ते पर चलना ही होगा।
अभी तमाम रिफॉर्म्स हुए हैं, मगर थोड़ा सा मैं बात करना चाह रहा था इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स जो हुए हैं मोदी जी के अंडर। अभी हाल फिलहाल में जीएसटी का रैशनलाइजेशन हुआ है, बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है। इनकम टैक्स को रेट्स को कमी आई है पिछले बजट में, बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है। कॉर्पोरेट रेट टैक्स कट किया। तो इन रिफॉर्म्स के पीछे क्या विजन था, क्या थिंकिंग थी मोदी जी की?
देखिए, आप जीएसटी के अभी हुए सुधार के बारे में मैं बाद में बात करूंगा। जीएसटी की चर्चा कांग्रेस की सरकार थी तब से होती थी। श्री चिदम्बरम वित्त मंत्री थे तब भी हुई, श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी वित्त मंत्री थे तब भी हुई। कई बार कांग्रेस से गुमराह कर रही है कि ये तो हमारा आइडिया है। ठीक है भाई, आपका आइडिया है तो इंप्लीमेंट क्यों नहीं हुआ? राज्य विरोध करते थे। राज्य विरोध किस चीज का करते थे? राज्य विरोध जिस चीज का करते थे वो चीज देश की जनता को समझनी चाहिए। सभी को मालूम था कि जीएसटी आने से राज्यों के रिसोर्सेस में एक प्रकार का रिजार्व होगा, कमी आएगी। वो कमी की भरपाई के लिए उस वक्त राज्य केंद्र से गारंटी मांगते थे।
Back live, and viewers, in our continuous coverage, there is feedback coming from ground that the benefits are still not being passed on because those stockists, retailers for FMCGs who have already stocked goods at the old GST rates are a little reluctant to pass on the benefits to the consumers. And at a lot of places, the new prices are not being displayed as had been requested or mandated by the government. But in the automobile sector, the gap is significant, and perhaps the aspirant can make that leap from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler, entry-level four-wheeler. Now it's possible because there is a discount of up to anywhere between 80,000 to a lakh of rupees, even at the basic entry-level automobile. Now, for the average middle-class household, the savings are real. FMCG cuts alone could shave off about 500 to 800 rupees per month in terms of household expenditure. That means there's more money in the pocket. Combine that with cheaper milk, butter, bread, and even our morning coffee, and it all adds up. Big-ticket buys like bikes or cars, the GST drop there could save people anywhere from 40,000 to 80,000 rupees in one shot. In fact, in certain cases, up to a lakh and a half or 2 lakh rupees. If we include the discounts, the festival discounts, and also the benefits of 0% GST on insurance. And of course, the registration tax coming down because the basic ex-showroom price has come down. So there is a lag and a staggered benefit that is being passed on. But where else will it reflect? Will it reflect in our exports? Let's ask Dev Garg, Prerna Agarwal Saxena, both with us. Thank you for your patience. Dev, you represent the Rice Exporters Federation. So let me ask you this. Are we going to get competitive in the international market? How is this GST rate cut going to help us get competitive as an exporter?
This GST rate cut has come at the very right time. Because as we stand today, the basmati harvest season will start in October and November. As we have seen that the GST has been cut from 12 to 18% on tractors and many other agricultural inputs, and now has been reduced to 5%. Now all these tractors constitute a major component of the harvest cost. So bringing down GST on such implements will definitely have an impact of the cost of production for the farmer, which will eventually result into our export competitiveness. There are few other important changes. First of all, the provisional refund time has been reduced from 60 days to just 7 days. So today, any exporter who is exporting rice out of this country will be able to get his 90% GST provisional refund within only a time of 7 days. This is very significant for the rice industry because as we have seen that more than 1250 crores of the rice industry are stuck under GST refunds. This amount will now be immediately unlocked to the industry and the exporters can use it to improve their working capital cycle and also compete at the global stage. Another important change that has come about is that the time for new GST registration has been reduced to just 3 days. Why this is significant for an exporter? Because in case of rice is being produced in nearly all states of the country. An exporter of rice is exporting rice out of Maharashtra, out of Odisha, Tamil Nadu, and even out of Gujarat. Now today, as a rice exporter, if, for example, I see that there is export competitiveness in Andhra Pradesh, and I undertake exports from the Kakinada port, and I don't have a GST registration over there. So it is very difficult for me to aggregate large amounts of quantity at the port warehouse. Now, if I see an opportunity and I go for GST registration, earlier it was taking more than 45 to 60 days, which has now been reduced to just 3 days. So this step is very significant going forward. There is another important change because today India has become the largest producer of rice in the world. Our output stands at a record 145 million metric tons. We have surpassed the output of even China. So coming this season, our output is expected to increase even further. The government has had a special focus on premium basmati rice varieties, other premium non-basmati rice varieties as well. So this October and November, we are seeing a record harvest. So to fulfill this record harvest and to give proper price to the farmers, there was a need for the consumer to have more money in their pocket. As you have seen, this GST reform will lead to more disposable income for the consumer. So earlier, we have seen that the average cost of rice that is being sold in this country is around 35 to 45 rupees per kg.
Right.
He estimates that the consumer will be able to shift to a higher band of premium varieties. Earlier, if was consuming something between 45 to 50 rupees per kg, today he will be able to purchase basmati rice worth 60 rupees per kg.
60 rupees per kg. No, so I think it is advantageous at various levels, not just at, you're saying export, the competitiveness goes up, but I think the logistics, the ease of trying to get into the export place and move your produce from one port to the other, one location to the other, and then be able to export it, that gets exponentially advantageous. But Prerna ji, in your sector as an MSME and also where you're working with weaves, thank you for your patience. How does it work for you and how do you see the GST 2.0?
So, thank you, Anand. Let me first tell you about our industry. Our industry is not like we actually have 10 industries or more than 10 industries which become the wedding industry. I'm part of the wedding industry. And that's us. When nothing was happening in COVID, bas khana pina ho raha tha aur dusra shaadiyan ho rahi thi. You know, that got the economy going, right? So, I'm very, very proud that I'm part of this industry, and a lot of people don't know, but we are second to food, which is we are 10.5 lakh crore industry, and we have the clothing industry, the jewelry industry, the venue, catering, food, decor, and photography. All of it becomes part of our industry. So I know the government thinks that we are in the luxury segment and has not done much for us, but I'm here to represent the industry and say that, you know, if we are able to make it most like reduce the GST, we'll be able to encompass more, right? The only benefit right now has happened is when we buy cloth.
Yeah.
That 12% is gone to about 5%. That's the only change which has happened, which might get a little cost benefit for the vendors in the decor industry and all that. So, you know, for decor supplies and all, some elements which are not in the luxury have come to 5%. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. If you go to a venue and the room cost is above 7,500, you pay up to 28% of GST. And below 7,500, it's about 18%. right? So that is the industry, and it stayed like that. If you're a caterer, you pay 5%, but if you're a venue, you pay 18%. Like
Right.
if a venue wants to do catering on their own, so the venue rental will attract an 18% of GST. Wedding planners is 18%. So most of a component are around 18%, right? So I'm actually here to urge that why not look at us as as something which is a necessity. Weddings will happen. India में शादियां कहीं नहीं जा रही.
You make a very fair point, and शादी तो होनी है, and that is going to be there
Right.
across every level of society. And if those benefits can be passed on, and why not consider them at a lower slab, at a lesser slab. Prerna ji, Dev, thank you for your time, and thank you for waiting on and also putting forth your thoughts. We have to tell our viewers as we take a very short break in our special coverage, not only here on CNN News 18, but there's also a mega conclave on Reforms Reloaded that will be broadcast across Network 18. It's happening in Delhi at the Taj Mansingh, 11 a.m. onwards. So if you're in the national capital, make your way in, because the who's who of the industry, India Inc. and also government will be present there with their points of view on the biggest reform in recent years, a white swan moment for Bharat, GST 2.0, the GST Bachat Utsav. Stay with us.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
All right, let's start this bulletin with the top story that we are tracking today. Starting today, consumers can expect major relief as reduced GST rates on over 375 items could come into effect. From kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next generation GST, or what the PM Modi termed GST Bachat Utsav, marks a significant overhaul. Essential goods and medicines now attract lower taxes, with over 50 items moved to the zero tax bracket. Meanwhile, luxury and sin goods will face a consolidated 40% GST rate. The Prime Minister said that the GST reforms would not only lighten the burden on households, but also strengthen India's position as a magnet for investment and haven for the entrepreneurs. PM Modi also renewed his call for Swadeshi push, urging the people to promote made in India products.
सरकार ने 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम को टैक्स फ्री करके एक उपहार दिया, और स्वाभाविक है जब 12 लाख रुपयों का इनकम टैक्स में राहत हो जाए तो मध्यम वर्ग के जीवन में तो कितना बड़ा बदलाव आता है, कितनी सरलता सुविधा हो जाती है। और अब गरीबों की भी बारी है, नियो मिडिल क्लास की बारी है। अब गरीब को, नियो मिडिल क्लास को एक तरह से डबल बोनांजा मिल रहा है। हमें हर घर को स्वदेशी का प्रतीक बनाना है, हर दुकान को स्वदेशी से सजाना है। गर्व से कहो ये स्वदेशी है, गर्व से कहो मैं स्वदेशी खरीदता हूं, मैं स्वदेशी सामान की बिक्री भी करता हूं। ये हर भारतीय का मिजाज बनना चाहिए। हम नागरिक देवो भवः, नागरिक देवो भवः कि जिस मंत्र के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म में इसकी साफ झलक दिखाई देती है। अगर हम इनकम टैक्स में छूट और जीएसटी में छूट को जोड़ दें तो एक साल में जो निर्णय हुए हैं उससे देश के लोगों को 2.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए से
launched on the first day of Navratri, the next gen GST, or what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, the GST Bachat Utsav, where Nagrik Devo Bhava is the mantra. It marks a significant overhaul. Let's try and understand this, the key sectors where the benefits will manifest. GST on gyms and fitness centers has been reduced from 18% to 5%. There's a GST cut on yoga classes as well. Spa and salon services to become cheaper. So that haircut, that trim, perhaps also a facial, all of this becomes cheaper on the pocket. But what does that mean? That you can add one more service to the list. Can you afford that? Is that going to make our life better? Healthcare on GST. Healthcare is 0% GST on life-saving drugs. All individual life and health insurance policies. GST on essential medicines has been reduced from 12% to 5%. There is no GST on treatment and disposal of biomedical waste, and that's been cut from 12% to 5%. So these are all aspects with respect to healthcare where there is a huge boost. Those who are dithering from going for a health insurance or a life insurance because of the GST rates, will they now start insuring their lives, insuring their health? Will they now take the plunge? And how much of a boost will that be to the entire insurance business and the insurance industry? We have to wait and watch, because there are a lot of jobs that the insurance sector also creates. Automobiles, the GST is down from 28% to 18% on cars in the affordable segment. That means anything that is less than 1500 cc.
You will see News 18 with me, Riha. Begin with the headlines first. GST 2.0 household items more cheaper. Modi pitches for Swadeshi.
आ रहे हैं अल्टीमेटली जो नई जीएसटी रेट का फायदा लोगों तक पहुंचना शुरू हो गया, और कैसे?
जीएसटी का फायदा तो पहुंच गया है। वो तो इन्होंने जब ये ऐलान करा था उस समय से ही वैसे व्यापारियों ने देना शुरू कर दिया था, क्योंकि कस्टमर तो बोल रहे हैं कि सस्ता करो जीएसटी, तो हमको देना पड़ता है। माल रोकने से क्या फायदा?
रोजमर्रा के इस्तेमाल की हर चीज आपकी शॉप पे है। तो मतलब इसमें मतलब एक आम आदमी को फर्क पड़ना लाजमी है।
हाँ, हमारे यहाँ तो खाने पीने की क्या, नहाना धोना, खाना पीना, चाय नाश्ता, सभी चीजें, डिनर तो ब्रेकफास्ट, सभी चीजें हमारे यहाँ से मिलती हैं, है ना। तो उससे जैसे शैम्पू है, शैम्पू लोग यूज करते हैं, उसमें 7% का कम हो गया, घी में 7% कम हो गया, पेस्टों में 7% कम हो गया, 12 था 5 हो गया ना। तो सभी चीजों में फायदा होगा कस्टमर को बहुत। ये चीजें कम से कम 25% है जो उनका अमाउंट बनता है मंथली, उसका ये चीजें सब 25% अमाउंट का रहता है करीब करीब।
नहीं, जैसे शैम्पू हुआ, साबुन हुआ, इन सब पे जो पहले 18% था वो 5% हो गया। कॉस्मेटिक आइटम पे ज्यादातर पे सब पे 18 से 5% हो गया। आटे पे आटा दाल चावल पे इन पे था नहीं। जो 1 किलो की पैकिंग, 2 किलो की पैकिंग, 5 किलो की पैकिंग, तो उस पर जीएसटी था, तो उन्होंने मेरे ख्याल से खत्म कर दिया कि नहीं करा, मालूम नहीं, जब आएगा तब क्लियर मालूम पड़ेगा। बाकी सभी चीजों तो फायदा हो ही गया। घी, शुद्ध घी हुआ, तेल हुआ, इन सब पे कम हो गया।
एक बड़ा कंफ्यूजन है कि भाई पुराना स्टॉक आपके पास रखा है, तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि जो वेंडर शॉपकीपर्स हैं वो क्या करेंगे कि लोगों को, ग्राहकों को पुराने स्टॉक की चीजें, चूंकि उन्होंने जीएसटी ज्यादा दिया है, और वैसे ही दे दें। ऐसा है क्या?
नहीं, ऐसा भी कई जगह हो सकता है, क्यों नहीं हो सकता। अपन तो जिसके लिए ग्राहक को दुकानदार से बोलना पड़ेगा कि आप जीएसटी कम हो गया तो इस पर जीएसटी कम लीजिए। अब जैसे कई चीजों पे,
लेकिन आपका सीए ये तो कर ही सकता ना। आप अपने क्वार्टरली जब क्लेम करते हैं, ज्यादा में लिया था उसको एडजस्ट करके आगे आप नए रेट के साथ, कम रेट के साथ क्लेम
वही कर। अब जैसे कई चीजों 5% थी, तो आज भी 5% पे ही है, उस पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा। अब जो चीजें जो ज्यादा जीएसटी की थी वो कम हो गई है, तो हम लोग कस्टमर को कम करके देंगे।
So the biggest GST reset in years has kicked in today, easing pressure on your wallet. From kitchen staples to electronics, medicines to automobiles, prices are set to drop under the revamped tax regime. This is launched on the first day of Navratri. Remember, the next generation GST, or what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has termed, this is GST Bachat Utsav. This marks a significant overhaul. So what is this overhaul really looking like? This is GST 2.0. What's new? Let's simplify all of that for you, because there are just two slabs that now remain as far as the GST is concerned. That's 5% and 18%. The 12% and 28% has been done away with. Healthcare and essentials get cheaper. Soaps, toothpaste, breads, your daily essential items, make your breakfast much cheaper, that have gone down to either nil or just 5%. So that 12% is completely done away with. Life-saving drugs, they now are down from 12%, that was the case earlier, to either no GST or just 5%. Two-wheelers, small cars, and this is also the big move by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. TVs, ACs, also cement. That now goes down from 28% to just 18%. If you take a look at farming, machinery, and also irrigation gear, that is down from 12% to 5% now. Also luxury goods at 40%. So this is what it is looking like at the moment, that this is the slab that we are talking about. No 12%, no 28%. We are looking at 5 and 18 particularly. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently in Arunachal Pradesh. He's interacting with consumers and traders ahead of that big announcement that he made yesterday. And he's now set to launch key infrastructure projects. These are the live visuals of the Prime Minister as he is on a Northeast blitz. He's meeting with traders, consumers, interacting with all of them. There you see GST Bachat Utsav, and that Utsav has been started by the Prime Minister from the Northeast himself. He is part of that Bachat Utsav. Remember, he made that announcement and he said the first day of Mahalaya, first day of Navratri, this is going to be kicking in. And there it is, the Prime Minister meeting with the traders. He'd also be interacting with all the consumers as the benefit now passes down to them. Garv hoke kaho Swadeshi. You can see all of that part of that interaction of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he is currently in Arunachal Pradesh. So right after that big announcement, he is headed to the Northeast. He is in Arunachal Pradesh. He's meeting with all the traders, and this is a big push, a big impetus for Make in India, for manufacturing in India, so that the consumers also benefit. Any kind of export that goes out of the products that are manufactured in India, all of that benefit ends up coming back to the consumers, also traders here in the country. Mahavikas push by Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he begins his Northeastern blitz, and he's currently there interacting with all the traders, meeting with them, looking and taking into account what their worries are, what their grievances have been, and how he has ended up redressing them. All of that is part of that interaction as we are putting out these visuals for our viewers. Prime Minister Modi in Arunachal Pradesh meeting with all the traders there. He is part of the GST Bachat Utsav as he spearheaded this entire Bachat Utsav. He's made that announcement and now he started it from the Northeast in Arunachal Pradesh. My colleague Payal Mehta is now joining us on the broadcast. Payal, very good morning to you. Prime Minister Modi launching from the very start the Bachat Utsav, the GST Bachat Utsav there in the Northeast in Arunachal Pradesh. We're getting these visuals for our viewers. More on this, please.
Well, of course, a very, very important day. Today marks the first day of Navratra, which is a very, very auspicious occasion on this aspect. And the Prime Minister, in fact, addressed the nation yesterday, Griha. He said that this is the Bachat Utsav which gets underway today. And he is, in fact, called upon the people of the country to, spend their heart out and spend what they want to really buy, what they've been aspiring to buy, and, in fact, go ahead and buy local stuff. That is something which the Prime Minister has, of course, been speaking about. And the Prime Minister's visit at Arunachal today will be of great significance, and it is, of course, in the backdrop of the GST Bachat Utsav. He also handed him placards which clearly says that Garv se kaho hum Swadeshi hai, ye Swadeshi hai. Shopkeepers were extremely happy on receiving these placards, and of course interacting with the Prime Minister. Griha.
Also, 5,000 crore worth of developmental projects that the Prime Minister is set to launch. Payal, more on that also, considering he is going to be heading to Tripura after Arunachal Pradesh.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power in 2014, nobody really, gave too much of importance to the Northeast. But the Prime Minister's, his government over the last 11 years has been constantly focusing on the welfare and the development of the Northeast region as well. In fact, the Prime Minister was here just a week or something ago when he had visited a couple of states, including Manipur and Assam. And today's visit is of great significance because he's going to be harnessing the vast hydroelectrical potential and promoting sustainable energy in the region. He will lay foundation stone of two major hydro power projects worth 3,700 crores in Itanagar, and he will also lay foundation stone of a state-of-the-art convention center Tawang. Tawang is of great cultural importance, a great tourist destination as well, and it is of course a landmark facility to host to be able to host national and international conferences. So the Prime Minister will be holding key infrastructure projects to the tune of 1,290 crores, catering to various sectors including connectivity, health, fire safety, working women hostel, among the others. So it's going to be a very, very important day today as far as the first day of Navratri is concerned. The Prime Minister, remember, Griha, fasts all through the 9 days. He is a great Upasak of Ma Durga. And he, of course, in fact, leading as far as the GST Bachat Utsav is concerned, interacting with the shopkeepers and the traders in the state of Arunachal, which is by the virtue of its size the largest state in the northeast and a very important state, given the fact that the SCO summit is where Prime Minister had gone to recently, and Arunachal has a great history to it. And of course, Arunachal has also been largely infamously known for the Chinese impact.
Right, Payal, as you are giving us a lowdown of Prime Minister's visit to the Northeast, we are putting out these visuals of the GST Bachat Utsav, which the PM is the part of. He's interacting with the traders, like you rightly mentioned, also consumers. We will very soon have the audio up on these visuals. But anything that you're learning of, the kind of interaction that Prime Minister Modi was a part of?
Well, the Prime Minister, of course, explaining to people on ground as to what this really means. It is not just a Utsav for the consumers, but it is also a Utsav for the manufacturers and the traders, because that is where, of course, people will be able to shop, will be able to buy, will be able to, do all of that. So that's going to be of great significance. And the fact that the Prime Minister has constantly spoken about the promotion of indigenous products, Swadeshi hai. Swadeshi movement is going to be of great significance. The Prime Minister has in fact asked all members of Parliament across the NDA to in fact hold these Swadeshi Melas for 9 days in a row. During Navratri, when people are out and about, they want to buy, they want to shop, they want to eat local stuff, they want to, in fact, prepare for the upcoming festivals also, because during the pujas, a lot of people, especially in the east and the northeastern part of the country, this is the annual spend for them. So the Prime Minister, in fact, telling them how important this Swadeshi movement can be.
Absolutely, Payal. And also Tripura, he is going to be part of a Maha Puja there, considering we are talking about 9 days of Navratri, like you rightly mentioned. So that is next on the cards for the Prime Minister.
Well, absolutely. Like I said, the Prime Minister is a great Upasak of Ma Durga, and whether he's in India or any part of the world, he is constantly fasting, irrespective of wherever he travels. And this Mata Tripura Sundari temple complex that he will be in fact participating in is of great significance. The Mata Tripura Sundari temple is the devotee, she's the deity of Tripura of great significance, and the project is also going to be of great importance, given the fact that under the Prasad scheme, it is one of the ancient Shakti Peeths that will be covered today. The Prime Minister, in fact, will be launching various schemes there in Tripura, including the Ma Tripura Sundari temple complex. And what a day to do it rather than the first day of which is of course the Navratri, which is celebrated across the country with a lot of fervor.
Absolutely, Payal. Thank you so much for all of the details there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi currently in the northeast in Arunachal Pradesh, and from there he heads to Tripura. We'll keep an eye on all the developments vis-a-vis the Prime Minister's visit to the northeast. Right now we are bringing in our colleague Arunima, who's joining us live on the broadcast this morning. Arunima, we're talking about the GST 2.0, the Bachat Utsav that has been announced by the Prime Minister. He's very much a part of the 9-day festivities in the northeast. But from the perspective of the consumers and also the traders, what is the first impression that you have been getting?
Right, the consumer, if you could ask a consumer who's buying his or her grocery, who's buying something in the retail sector, they're very happy. The basic breakfast, for example, your milk, your egg, your paneer, all of that is going to cost less. And that in the festival season, it's a season of fasting. So the consumer in that sense is cheering on. But I'm actually coming to you live from a textile manufacturing unit. This is an apparel manufacturing unit. It's their workstation here in Noida, from where I'm coming to you live, trying to understand the perspective from the other side. Arun is the Vice President Retail of Libas. Arun, while the consumer's point of view is that, this is a great occasion for them to go out and shop, the GST 2.0, what does it mean for manufacturers and retailers like you?
No, GST 2.0 is really a welcome move. It's a right step in the positive direction, and the simpler, the easier the execution, and it's going to be beneficial for all of us. But yes, and it's great for mass fashion, because anything under 2,500 now will attract 5% instead of a 12%. But yes, there is a concern. The merchandise above 2,500, especially the occasion wear and the bridal wear, now attracts 18% instead of a 12%. So that right in the festive season, the bridal wedding market, and this is something which we are anticipating how the consumers are going to react.
Okay, so Graham, let me try and make that simpler for you. This piece, for example, is what Arun was showing to me earlier. Karwa Chauth is round the corner, the marriage season is round the corner, so a lot of to-be brides or new brides would want to invest in occasional wear like this. This costs more than 10,000, so that goes into the 18% slab. It was earlier costing 12%. So the 6% excess tax, are you passing it on to the consumer?
No, actually we are observing the part of it, because we still want the customer to feel the value, and we didn't want them to have a knee-jerk reaction. So that is something from the brand we are doing it.
6% tax is what you are absorbing right now. Yes. Here's what my question to you is. Government says that this will set off a consumption pattern, encourage people to come and buy more. So whatever loss you are suffering, will that be offset by increased consumption?
Definitely, that's what we are also hoping for. In our everyday wear and casual and office wear, there's definitely a lot of benefit. And when consumers start spending less there, they might have a little bit of extra wallet to spend on their occasion and bridal wear. And that's going to be really beneficial for us.
Yes. So all those who to-be brides or people who are hoping to invest in occasional wear as far as Diwali, Dussehra is concerned, what Arun and his team here at Libas is hoping is all these beautiful pieces that they have carved out, instead of buying one, you will buy two or perhaps three, and that will help them offset whatever cost they have already incurred on it, because GST definitely, they've all decided to hear to the Prime Minister's missive and make this a festival in itself. So along with Dussehra, Diwali, Karwa Chauth, there is a fourth festival, GST 2.0.
Absolutely, Arunima. And as we say here for Delhi Walas, fashion-forward people, any kind of GST will not deter them to dress better. So that's one thing that we have to also take into account. But do stay on with us, Arunima. We also have our colleague Shantanu, who's live with us from a Honda showroom. Shantanu, we are talking about automobiles. We are talking about how the price, the cess that has been done away with from cars, that is going to be trickling down to the consumers. The consumers are going to be very, very happy. So people, all the Honda car buyers, any consumers that you've happened to speak to, what are they saying about this benefit that will pass on to them?
Yeah, the consumers are really excited. We're actually at a motorcycle showroom of Honda, and let us try to the consumer, those who have come right today, right after the GST 2.0 has been rolled out, to buy their particular motorcycles. So, आप मुझे पहले बताइए कि आज का दिन ही क्यों चुना गया?
आज का दिन इसलिए है कि जीएसटी में जो भारत सरकार से अभी जो छूट मिला है उसकी वजह से थोड़ा सहूलियत मिली है, कस्टमर को बाइक लेने में अफोर्डेबल हुआ है थोड़ा सा, तो इस वजह से ये दिन थोड़ा खास पड़ा। और एक तरीके से फेस्टिवल है, नवरात्रि का समय, इस वजह से थोड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है लेने में।
तो जो सेल है हमेशा एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम के लिए होती है, नवरात्रि के लिए होती है, पर ये जो GST 2.0 है ये एक बोनांजा है सबके लिए। तो आप इसीलिए आज मोटरसाइकिल खरीदने के लिए आए हैं यहाँ पे। और
बिल्कुल इसी वजह से तो आए हैं। आज जब हमने सुना कि भारत सरकार की तरफ से टू व्हीलर और बाकी सी चीज़ों में जो छूट मिल रहा है जीएसटी में, तो ये अफोर्डेबल हो गया है, लेने में अब सहूलियत मिल रही है लोगों को। मतलब जो चीज़ें थोड़ी उसमें थोड़ा दिक्कत है प्राइस से लेने में, वो अब सहूलियत मिल रहा है। बाकी बात
कौन सी गाड़ी खरीदने आए हैं आप?
मुझे तो लेना है होंडा हॉर्नेट की ले रहा हूँ मैं, 125 सीसी की।
कितने का पड़ रहा है आपका?
ये आपका पड़ रहा है कि 1,21,000 के आसपास है, 22,000 के आसपास है।
So as you heard from them, they are actually getting a big relief because of the new GST rates, and at the same time I am also joined by an agent who will also let us know regarding the particular motorcycles, regarding the scooters and their prices currently. तो आप प्लीज़ हमारे ऑडियंस को बताइए कि किस तरह से ये जो गाड़ियाँ हैं और उनकी पहले क्या प्राइस होती थी और अभी क्या प्राइसेस हैं।
अभी इसमें दो मॉडल हैं, एक तो आपका एच स्मार्ट मॉडल और एक डीलक्स मॉडल आता है। दो मॉडल आते हैं। पहले प्राइस 1,10,000 रुपये 16,000 था, अब हो गया 1,07,000 रुपये। पहले था एच स्मार्ट मॉडल का 1,20,000 था, अब उसका 1,13,000 रुपये है ऑन रोड प्राइस गाड़ियों के। 125 सीसी में 110 में दो मॉडल हैं इसमें। पहले इसका 110 था और एक मॉडल स्टैंडर्ड उसका 98 था। स्टैंडर्ड मॉडल का आपका 91,000 हो गया ऑन रोड प्राइस और डीलक्स मॉडल का हो गया 1,02,000 रुपये। 18% GST, 9,500 रुपये लेस हुए उसमें।
अच्छा, 9,500 रुपये लेस हुए सॉरी। तो अभी मुझे एक चीज़ और बताइए कि आप इतने टाइम से है तो आज कस्टमर्स ज़्यादा आए हुए हैं यहाँ पे?
हाँ, कस्टमर की पहले से बुकिंग थी, तो क्योंकि शराब चल रहे थे तो कोई लेता नहीं है। अभी बुकिंग थी तो आज गाड़ियाँ जा रही हैं। अभी तक 15 डिलीवरी हो चुकी हैं और अभी
Shantanu, I would also want to understand from the gentleman you're speaking to.
डिलीवरी होंगी आज गाड़ी।
There were some concerns about the announcement by the Prime Minister and the implementation so soon, right on the next day. That doesn't seem to have deterred this Honda showroom, where they have implemented the new GST prices, and that has translated to the pricing of the bikes that they are selling out. So that has not come in their way.
जब अचानक से ये अनाउंसमेंट हुई और जीएसटी का जो अनाउंसमेंट हुआ, तो नॉर्मली जो प्राइसिंग करनी थी या आपके कुछ ओल्ड स्टॉक्स थे जिसको आप यहाँ पे अभी नए प्राइस में बेचेंगे, तो उसमें कोई दिक्कत परेशानी हुई पर्टिकुलर लेवलिंग को लेके या बाकी सब चीज़ों को लेके?
नहीं, ऐसी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुई है। जब अनाउंसमेंट हुई तो सेल डाउन हो गई थी, बट बुकिंग हो रही थी कस्टमर की, क्योंकि हमें बुकिंग करानी पड़ती, कलर अवेलेबल नहीं होते, उस वजह से बुकिंग हुई और अब गाड़ियाँ सेल होंगी आज से।
सेल इसीलिए भी डाउन हो गई क्योंकि सबको पता था कि इस तारीख के बाद,
क्योंकि शराब चल रहे थे और रेट भी डाउन हो गए तो कस्टमर ने फिर लेना बंद ही कर दिया था।
पर बुकिंग्स हो रहे थे। और बाकी जो जीएसटी अनाउंसमेंट हुई अचानक से सिर्फ सेल की थोड़ी बहुत ये हुई और बाकी लेकिन बुकिंग्स हो रही थी।
सेल डाउन हुई है क्योंकि 10,000 रुपये कम नहीं होते। कस्टमर भी सोच रहे थे कि 5-10 दिन का है, तो इस वजह से बुकिंग हुई है गाड़ियों की।
Absolutely. Actually trying to tell us that initial when the GST was implemented,
it's a win-win for both the traders and the consumers. And that is something that we'd like to put out for our viewers. We'll continue this coverage and we will speak to more and more people on what they have to say. What does this mean for them? GST 2.0 as it kicks in today on the first day of Navratri. Continuing with this big coverage right here on CNN News 18. Stay tuned for more as we go into a very short break.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next-gen GST, or what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, the GST Bachat Utsav, where Nagrik Devo Bhava is the mantra. It marks a significant overhaul. Let's try and understand this, the key sectors where the benefits will manifest. GST on gyms and fitness centers has been reduced from 18% to 5%. There's a GST cut on yoga classes as well. Spa and salon services to become cheaper, so that haircut, that trim, perhaps also a facial, all of this becomes cheaper on the pocket. But what does that mean? That you can add one more service to the list. Can you afford that? Is that going to make our life better? Healthcare on GST. Healthcare is 0% GST on life-saving drugs. All individual life and health insurance policies. GST on essential medicines has been reduced from 12% to 5%. There is no GST on treatment and disposal of biomedical waste, and that's been cut from 12% to 5%. So these are all aspects with respect to healthcare where there is a huge boost. Those who are dithering from going for a health insurance or a life insurance because of the GST rates, will they now start insuring their lives, insuring their health? Will they now take the plunge? And how much of a boost will that be to the entire insurance business and the insurance industry? We have to wait and watch, because there are a lot of jobs that the insurance sector also creates. Automobiles, the GST is down from 28% to 18% on cars in the affordable segment. That means anything that is less than 1500 cc. So at 1496 cc, are you going to pay 10% lesser? But cars which are above 1500 cc, luxury, that fall into the luxury bracket, there is a 5 to 6% differential too, despite that slab moving from 28% to 40%. Now, there is also lower GST on bikes up to 350 cc from 28% to 18%. So a 10% drop in prices. So a car or a bike that is costing $1.5 lakh will now be 15,000 rupees cheaper. And does that now suddenly make it affordable for that person who thought that, oh, I don't think I can aspire for that bike because I can't afford that 15,000 extra on the EMI, on the loan? Does that now just become reachable for the person? So an aspirational lifestyle, an improvement in the quality or the type of bike that person is going to ride, and perhaps a sense of, I have also moved up in life. So that fueling that emotion, that EQ into the person, the average Bharatiya, is that what's going to be the biggest fillip in boosting that person's confidence to aspire for more, to work harder, to strive for more? A flat 40% GST, no cess on large cars. That is also reducing cost. Like I was mentioning earlier, on large cars, we are paying anywhere between 46 to 50%, including the cess. So GST plus cess, etc. But in this case, now it is flat 40% and no cess. So that also comes down by about 6 to 8%. So at 50 lakhs, if you are spending about 10% less, that's a lot of money that a person can save. Perhaps that will help them add on to the accessories or look at something else where they could spend that income or that disposable income somewhere else. Rural economy, the GST on tractors, 1800 cc, less than 1800 cc, greater than 1800 cc, that's been reduced to 5%. Tractor parts, tires, hydraulic pumps at 5%. GST on sprinklers, drip irrigation, harvesting, all of that has also dropped. So there is a big shift there, from 12% to 5%. Machinery cut from 12% to 5%. So at various levels, even in the rural economy, there is going to be a big spurt in consumption. That's the expectation because of greater disposable income in the hands of the average farmer in the rural area or the resident in rural areas. Daily essentials, UHT milk, roti, paratha, paneer, all exempted from GST. You know, GST on dry fruits and diabetic foods has also been cut from 12% to 5%. Fish, fruit pulp, milk beverages, all are working at lowered taxes, and those numbers are only going to reduce the monthly household budget, allowing the homemaker to try and also add more to the list of things that make up the shelf in the kitchen. That perhaps towards a healthier lifestyle, a better lifestyle. Packaging and logistics. Most packaging materials are now taxed at 5%. GST on commercial goods vehicles has been cut from 28% to 18%. That gives a huge fillip to those who are looking at commercial vehicles for their livelihood, or those who are also wanting to change their commercial vehicles. There is an incentive now because there is a cap on how long these commercial vehicles.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. Now, as GST 2.0 takes effect, our reporters on ground have been getting us voices of the consumers as they rejoice the new prices. Take a look at these ground reports.
In a major boost to the common citizens, where we see that the central government has now announced a major relief in GST cut, and now when we talk about fitness and health, it's a major relief because now the GST reforms, which were near about 18%, now it has been brought down to 5%, and especially when we talk about Prime Minister's mission of Fit India, where we have been seeing Prime Minister Modi time and again talking about how one's health has to be very important, and that is the reason why we see a major cut in the GST in fitness and gyms, where it has now been brought down to 5%. We'll just try and get a word from some of the people here. We are right now at the Crunch Fitness Studio, where we see that gym equipments also would get cheaper now. आप बताइए कि आप ये GST reforms जो है जो 18% था अब वो 5% हो चुका है. So how is it going to help the gyms, fitness centers, especially equipments would get cheaper, and also the membership also would be coming down?
ये तो बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है. बहुत सारे लोगों को फ़ायदा भी होगा इससे. जो मिडिल क्लास और लो एंड मिडिल क्लास वाले हैं वो भी अच्छे से जिम करेंगे, हेल्थ के ऊपर कॉन्शियस रहेंगे. और जो है ना, जो बिज़नेस लगाना चाह रहे हैं जिम्स के लिए, बहुत सारे लोग पीछे हैं इसीलिए कि GST में ज़्यादा 18% है तो नहीं पे करेंगे, इसीलिए तो बहुत सारे लोग जिम्स नहीं लगा रहे थे. और ये बिज़नेस भी बहुत अच्छा बिज़नेस है, ग्रोथिंग बिज़नेस है. इसमें भी अभी 5%, 18% से 5% आया तो बहुत अच्छे लोगों को फ़ायदा भी होगा और बिज़नेस भी अच्छा रन होगा.
The most important thing in the GST that is affecting definitely Bengal and specifically Kolkata is that milk product, the GST on milk product status is something which has been a very good news for Puja. I am in Balaram Maulik, which is one of the famous Mishti shop in Calcutta, and definitely people are happy, both the sides, the consumers and also the other people, they are also very happy. And before Puja we'll try to ask them, ये बताइए कि how is it, आज क्या ज़्यादा आज से milk product और मिठाई from today onwards you will purchase more?
Definitely it will cost less. GST rate has been reduced, and from today the shopkeepers has to sell at the lower GST rate. And definitely the customer who want to buy, earlier he was buying 5 piece, now he will buy 6 piece. So definitely consumption will increase and he will not think about the price.
This Puja more of sweets and more of milk products?
Since by West Bengal with the Puja without sweets we can't think of. So sweets prices are reducing, cakes prices are reducing. So definitely all milk product, as you know, has been reduced. It will consumed in the making of sweets. So definitely the puja, more puja for West Bengal.
More puja for West Bengal. You tell me that, what is so different today and what is the mood in the market, in the puja market?
Especially today my wife called from my home कि आज से दाम घट गया दूध का. बोले कैसे? बोला पहले 4000 का दूध आता था, अब हमें 500 का फायदा मिल जाएगा. So by that way, all the wives are very happy today. That their house.
So the Home Minister is happy.
Yes, Home Minister is very happy. So we are also very happy because ultimately the budget of home will be reduced. After that, they will be able to expand more to the different market. और ये पूजा बुरंजा है तो हमारे लिए बहुत ही फायदेमंद है, खासकर बंगाल के लिए जहाँ की मिष्टी दही और इधर छोटे छोटे प्रोडक्ट जो काफ़ी यूज होते हैं यहाँ पे, और उसके पीछे जो इंडस्ट्री डिपेंडेंट है सबको फ़ायदा मिलेगा. ये बहुत ही वेलकम अप्रोच है फॉर द बंगाल एटलीस्ट.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next-gen GST, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the GST Bachat Utsav, where Nagrik Devo Bhava is the mantra. It marks a significant overhaul. Let's try and understand this, the key sectors where the benefits will manifest. GST on gyms and fitness centers has been reduced from 18% to 5%. There's a GST cut on yoga classes as well. Spa and salon services to become cheaper. So that haircut, that trim, perhaps also a facial, all of this becomes cheaper on the pocket. But what does that mean? That you can add one more service to the list. Can you afford that? Is that going to make our life better? Healthcare on GST. Healthcare is 0% GST on life-saving drugs. All individual life and health insurance policies. GST on essential medicines has been reduced from 12% to 5%. There is no GST on treatment and disposal of biomedical waste, and that's been cut from 12% to 5%. So these are all aspects with respect to healthcare where there is a huge boost. Those who are dithering from going for a health insurance or a life insurance because of the GST rates, will they now start insuring their lives, insuring their health? Will they now take the plunge? And how much of a boost will that be to the entire insurance business and the insurance industry? We have to wait and watch, because there are a lot of jobs that the insurance sector also creates. Automobiles, the GST is down from 28% to 18% on cars in the affordable segment. That means anything that is less than 1500 cc. So at 1496 cc, you're going to pay 10% lesser. But cars which are above 1500 cc, luxury, that fall into the luxury bracket, there is a 5 to 6% differential too, despite that slab moving from 28% to 40%. Now, there is also lower GST on bikes up to 350 cc from 28% to 18%. So a 10% drop in prices. So a car or a bike that is costing $1.5 lakh will now be 15,000 rupees cheaper. And does that now suddenly make it affordable for that person who thought that, oh, I don't think I can aspire for that bike because I can't afford that 15,000 extra on the EMI, on the loan? Does that now just become reachable for the person? So an aspirational lifestyle, an improvement in the quality or the type of bike that person is going to ride, and perhaps a sense of, I have also moved up in life. So that fueling that emotion, that EQ into the person, the average Bharatiya, is that what's going to be the biggest fillip in boosting that person's confidence to aspire for more, to work harder, to strive for more? A flat 40% GST, no cess on large cars. That is also reducing cost. Like I was mentioning earlier, on large cars, we are paying anywhere between 46 to 50%, including the cess. So GST plus cess, etc. But in this case, now it is flat 40% and no cess. So that also comes down by about 6 to 8%. So at 50 lakhs, if you are spending about 10% less, that's a lot of money that a person can save. Perhaps that will help them add on to the accessories or look at something else where they could spend that income or that disposable income somewhere else. Rural economy, the GST on tractors, 1800 cc, less than 1800 cc, greater than 1800 cc, that's been reduced to 5%. Tractor parts, tires, hydraulic pumps at 5%. GST on sprinklers, drip irrigation, harvesting, all of that has also dropped. So there is a big shift there, from 12% to 5%. Machinery cut from 12% to 5%. So at various levels, even in the rural economy, there is going to be a big spurt in consumption. That's the expectation because of greater disposable income in the hands of the average farmer in the rural area or the resident in rural areas. Daily essentials, UHT milk, roti, paratha, paneer, all exempted from GST. You know, GST on dry fruits and diabetic foods has also been cut from 12%.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks on GST reforms were met with sharp political resistance. Opposition leaders across parties, particularly from the Congress and the Trinamool Congress, accused the Prime Minister of appropriating credit for decisions shaped by consensus in the GST Council. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge went further, accusing Prime Minister Modi of masking 8 years of what he described as, quote, economic wounds. Meanwhile, the BJP is hit back. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has slammed the Congress and its social media ecosystem for spreading negativity and baseless criticism, defending the reforms as people-centric and forward-looking.
देखिए, मुझे मोदी जी का राष्ट्र के नाम संबोधन सुनकर बड़ा अजीब लगा। इसलिए अजीब लगा क्योंकि आज रात 12 बजे से और कल के सूर्योदय से नया जीएसटी लागू हो जाएगा। इसका अनाउंसमेंट पहले ही कर चुकी है फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। निर्णय लेने से पहले मोदी जी ने लाल किले की प्राचीर से बोल दिया था। आज एकदम से मोदी जी को लगा, अरे कल बदलाव आएगा, बिना मेरा चेहरा छपे, बिना मेरा चेहरा चमके कैसे ये बदलाव आ सकता, तो वो बोलने के लिए आ गए। उन्होंने कुछ नया तो बोला नहीं सर्वप्रथम, लेकिन आज जब वो बोल रहे थे तो ऐसा लग रहा था मानो 2017 में किसी और की सरकार ने जीएसटी लागू किया था। जीएसटी आप ही ने लागू किया था और गलत सनद जीएसटी लागू किया था, इसीलिए उसको हम लगातार गब्बर सिंह टैक्स कहते हुए आए हैं। कुछ ऐसा लग रहा था कि अनमने मन से बोल रहे हैं। शायद वोट चोर गद्दी छोड़ का नारा जो पूरे देश में गूंज रहा है वो मोदी जी को भी सुनाई दे रहा और उसी के चलते मुंह उतरा हुआ सा लगा।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने राष्ट्र को संबोधित करते हुए इस नवरात्रि की स्थापना के दिवस से लेकर के आने वाले 9 दिन तक देश जीएसटी में हालिया किए गए रिफॉर्म्स के चलते हुए जिस तरह से हर घर हर परिवार को दैनिक उपयोग की वस्तुओं में कर के कटौती और राहत के कारण से जो बचत हुई है, उस बचत को एक उत्सव के रूप में हम सेलिब्रेट करें। मैं मानता हूं कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का ये आह्वान निश्चित रूप से देश में एक नए वातावरण का सृजन करेगा और देश को स्वदेशी के मार्ग से आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर लेकर के जाएगा।
बहुत ही स्वागत योग्य ये बात है और प्रधानमंत्री जी को हम हार्दिक धन्यवाद देते हैं कि आपका जीएसटी कम हुआ तो इसके लिए देशवासी का लाभ होगा, देश का लाभ होगा और गरीब लोगों के खास करके जनजाति लोगों का तो बहुत ही लाभ होगा। उसके साथ साथ भी इनकम टैक्स में भी 12 लाख तक का छूट है, ये भी बहुत बड़ा सहूलियत है, ये भी लोगों के लिए बहुत बड़ा लाभ होगा।
So opposition is criticizing Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the next generation GST reforms. Here's what Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge has said. He, in fact, accuses the centre of imposing the GST, which the Congress terms as Gabbar Singh tax, instead of the simple GST that he says was proposed by the Congress party. He also further has gone on to claim that the Modi government collected 55 lakh crore rupees in the last 8 years before going on to announce these reforms in the name of the benefits that are going to be passed to the consumers and the traders. My colleague Pallavi Ghosh is joining us live on the broadcast. Pallavi, let's begin with the critique that's coming in from the Congress and the TMC particularly, also the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. What is the exact point of rebuttal here by the Congress? Are they miffed that the Prime Minister is going on to announce it, or they are claiming that it is the Congress that proposed these reforms in the first place?
Well, I mean, a bit of everything actually. I mean, remember the Congress party's response has been very simple. The GST is something which we had thought of and the government has just followed up with it, but it's also turned out to be a Gabbar Singh tax, to use the words of Rahul Gandhi. What I think they are miffed about and what they are criticizing is the fact that, one, why is it the government tom-tomming the GST 2.0 as something which they managed to get for the people of India, whereas it was someone like Rahul Gandhi who had kept on insisting that the GST regime has to be rationalized because this is going out against the consumers. The people were suffering from high prices and the GST benefits were accruing only to a few handful of manufacturers, and the state treasury was also becoming empty. That has also been the refrain coming in from Mamata Banerjee as well, that the GST regime has never given any kind of benefits as far as the state government goes. That's where the counter is coming in from the BJP as a political party, that you were in power for 10 years. If you think you are the ones who brought in the GST regime, which you did, why were you not able to simplify it? And second, GST 2.0 rate rationalization. I remember it happened on 3rd of September. We were very much there reporting from the spot. It ended at around 9:30 p.m. and the GST Council meeting was chaired by the Finance Minister. But present in the GST Council meeting are representatives of all the state governments. So their opposition rule states very much there. If ever there has been an issue with GST rates, that's what the BJP is asking. Your own representatives sit in the GST Council and under the name of falling revenues, they often oppose any kind of a rate rationalization earlier. So why is it that you are blaming the government? Why is it that you're blaming the BJP or the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister?
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for all of those updates there. Let's take a look at some more reactions coming in.
आज भी प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने कहा कि सबके लिए एक सामान्य टैक्स होगा और ये बिल्कुल सच से परे है। आज भी आपको ध्यान होगा कि किस तरह रशियन ऑयल का फॉर एग्जाम्पल पूंजीपति उसको खरीदकर ओपन मार्केट में बेचकर खूब मुनाफा कमा रहे हैं, पर कैसे हमारी सरकार ने उनको विंडफॉल टैक्स देने से बचा लिया। उस पे टैक्स नहीं दे रहे वो उस मुनाफे पे, और उसका खामियाजा आम जनता भुगत रही है। इतना महंगा पेट्रोल मिल रहा है, ये हम सबको पता है, और आज भी वो जीएसटी के दायरे में नहीं आया। अगर सच में किसान के हित में कुछ करना है तो सबसे पहले तो पंजाब का किसान, जो इस टाइम एक बहुत बड़ी त्रासदी से गुजर रहा है, तो पंजाब का जो 60,000 करोड़ बकाया है जिसमें जीएसटी कॉम्पोनेंट भी है, वो आप पंजाब को दीजिए ताकि वो इस त्रासदी के समय में काम आ पाए।
We're now getting some exclusive news break. We are learning that Pakistan has conducted air strikes in the Tira Valley of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Officials say that at least 30 people have been killed in these strikes. The target, we're told, was TTP affiliates. However, locals claim that women and children have also been targeted. As per top intel sources, they've also informed us that the use of precision LS-6 glide bombs against a civilian settlement proves intent, not collateral damage, and this is nothing but violation of international humanitarian law. Furthermore, strikes are also reflective of the fact that a systemic campaign against Pashtun populations have been done by Pakistan establishment. In a parallel development, we're also learning that the Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that we don't need to attack Pakistan to get Pakistan occupied Kashmir. This is the latest that we are picking up. Pakistan establishment striking a civilian establishment there in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Women and children have been part of the target. Many people have been killed. My colleague Anand Narsimhan is joining us with the latest there. Anand, what explains this attack and what really has happened here?
More importantly, they claim it to be a crackdown against the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, but what they have done is targeted a civilian area. When you're using precision strike bombs, then what is the need to strike a civilian area in your own territory? Now, this is all Pakistan. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area is supposed to be Pakistan. The local Akakhel tribes in Tira, they are very, very upset. The elders are very, very upset. In fact, what they have said is 30 women, children have been also killed or exterminated by the Pakistani forces. What they are now saying is that they will give a fair burial to the women, but the children, and also women and the children, but the men who have died, they are going to they are not going to bury them. They are going to actually take these bodies and place it in front of the Corps Commander's residence there in that region. They are very, very upset. The tribes are very upset. This is a restive tribal belt. There is not too much of government control that is exercised in these tribal areas. But these kind of precision strikes, and that too China-made L6 bombs which are being used, this is only going to further fuel the unrest within the Pashtuns. The Pashtun Talaffuz movement, or the PTM, was a huge student uprising that troubled the army and also the civilian governments in the past. The Pashtuns have been slowly even talking about Pakhtunistan. The other part is the Durand line. Pakistan trying to underline this Durand line with Afghanistan, whereas a lot of these tribes believe that those lands belong to them and there should be no borders. This is also going to further fuel unrest and displeasure with the Pakistani military in this region. We have to wait and watch how the tribes and the elders respond, but they are very, very upset that civilian establishments, civilian areas have been targeted by Pakistani forces itself. They are all also residents of Pakistan, these tribes and these people, and it's the Pakistan establishment using precision bombs. If you have precision bombs, why is it that women and children are killed? This is actually a civilian massacre which is being masqueraded as a terror strike or a counter-terror strike. That's the argument that's come forth.
Absolutely. Social media, Anand, is abuzz that this is nothing short of an ethnic cleansing, and the fact that there is a China involvement. You're rightfully talking about the L6 glide bombs, precision strikes, which have been supplied by China. So again, that connection has come to fore, and the activists are not stopping at that. They are talking about the ethnic cleansing that has been carried out by the Pakistani forces.
See, this FATA region, there has been a huge question mark, even with the recent policy of the government to send back Afghans who for long had been residing in Pakistan, plying their wares, and millions of Afghans were displaced and forcefully sent back. There are certain regions that are also being cleared for China's CPEC corridor and also for the road progressions. And there is an ethnic and a demographic cleansing that is being undertaken. More importantly, along with the L6 glide bombs, China-made JF-17 jets were actually used. So the open sanction for a civilian massacre by the Chinese administration and the China's hand behind orchestrating this massacre is also evident, and these will also further raise questions. More importantly, the tribals will become very, very restive. There is going to be a retaliation. In what form that manifests, we have to wait and watch. But Pakistan, like they have done in Balochistan, now in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or the Pakhtunistan region, they are again resorting to civilian massacres. In Balochistan, they used helicopters, firing via the helicopters at innocent civilians. Women and children were killed in broad daylight and, in cold blood. And here they are using precision bombs which are supposed to be used for targeted killings at civilian establishments, and women, children are also dying along with so-called terrorists. Now, this is a civilian establishment. Look at the pictures that we have accessed, courtesy Manoj Kumar Gupta. This is a civilian area altogether. And there are huge amounts of protests. They are saying we are not going to bury the menfolk who have died here. We're going to put those bodies outside the Corps Commander, and we need an explanation and an answer for what has prompted this.
China is very much a party to this, and that raises the accountability question, Anand. But talking about the casualty figures, we so far are learning of 30. That includes women and children. Could the number go higher? Because there are several eyewitness accounts that speak about how homes have been flattened. There has been a massive blast that's taken place.
Yes, because there have been precision strikes. This is a civilian area. So there are buildings that are flattened. Livestock has been killed. Women, children are dead. 30 is a very conservative number. This number could be far greater, is what many are saying. And this entire settlement, it looks like it's just cold-blooded massacre. Civilian massacre in Pakistani territory by the Pakistani military on people who are supposed to be Pakistani nationals. This is something which is being highlighted, and the equipment used is all Chinese. And this is an area which the Chinese have also been targeting because they want their roads, the connectivity from their CPEC project to the Gwadar port. So from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and this region further down towards Balochistan, and that's where the Gwadar port is. So many questions are going to be raised on the role of the Pakistani military and the number of people, civilians that they are clearing. Now, do they want, on the garb of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, did they want to flatten this entire area and rid it of any population so that the Chinese could move in along with their engineers and teams and try and displace the locals and take control of this region? We have to wait and watch if there is merit to that argument. But this is something which the Pakistan military has resorted to in the past too. They have done this with the Baloch and they are now doing it with the Pashtuns.
Right, Anand, thank you so much for that perspective. This is going to risk further escalation, a lot of unrest. Like Anand was mentioning, the people are refusing to even bury the dead. And that is where that tribal unrest really stems from. We will keep an eye on this big story that is coming out of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but right now we're getting some breaking news on the broadcast. This is a parallel development, as we were talking about this earlier, as the Indian Defence Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, has said that we don't need to attack Pakistan to get Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, as demands are being made in POK already. To understand this better, we have our defence correspondent Akash, but we'll get him to join us a little later. But this is a very, very significant statement that has been made by Mr. Rajnath Singh, a big one by the Defence Minister, talking about how attacking Pakistan to get POK is not something that India is looking at. We don't have to go ahead and do it. We don't need to do it, is what the Defence Minister has said, as the demands are being made in POK already. So half the battle has already been done. It's won after Operation Sindoor. Demands in POK already are being made, and the Indian Defence Minister reiterating attacking Pakistan is not required to procure POK. Akash is with us on the broadcast now to get more perspective on this big statement by the Defence Minister. Yes, Akash.
You see, Griha, a number of comments have been made by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, and as far as this 50% tariff comment is concerned, so this can be considered as a masterclass in strategic restraint and soft power projection. Because you see, we have seen that how the foreign policy under the current regime has evolved. And, the approach of Indian government is somewhere a blend of, I should say, assertiveness and maturity. Because, they don't want any escalation that could harm the long-term interests of India and United States. Both countries are working, for quite some time. There are a number of deals in the pipeline, and that's why, we have, in fact, no comment by any responsible chair in the country for last so many days, even when US, has imposed a 50% tariff on India. And Rajnath Singh somewhere reiterating that how, we are broad-minded and big-hearted, not to react on anything immediately. Also, as far as, Rajnath Singh's visit is concerned, so he has also talked about POK, and he has somewhere reiterated that how, in the last 5 years, he has, mentioned it several times, and 5 years ago, he mentioned in one of his visits to Kashmir that how people of POK will automatically, join India and come back to India.
Great, absolutely, Akash. Thank you so much for all of those details there. We're shifting our focus now. We're getting this exclusive piece of breaking news that's coming in from Kashmir as a suspicious object has been found near Dal Lake in Srinagar. Police, we're told, has reached the spot and they are currently checking it. Our colleague Ishan Vani is also at the spot. Ishan, what is it that you're picking up? What are you learning of this suspected object that's been found at the Dal Lake?
Well, it's a round object which has been found just outside the Srinagar's passport office, and this is a very highly commuted area. And you will notice here that bomb disposal squad is now being called in to ensure that what it is, whether this is a kind of any explosive or whether there was any mischief, that is the police for the to investigate. But taking no chances, you will see the entire Dal Lake stretch has been stopped for now. No traffic is being allowed to ply on this road, and the BDS teams are checking to know what the object is. Though it was pulled down from that particular place there. My cameraman can zoom in and show you that it was, dropped in from there. It was under a pole right there outside the passport office in Srinagar where people queue up for their passport appointments. And now it's near on that side. If Bashir can zoom in and show you, there's a round object right there on the side of this road where you can see that round object. If you can zoom in. And you will see that there's a round object there. That is what is believed to be a suspicious item. And that's why post security forces are not taking any chances. They are trying to check it, what it really is. Can it harm anybody? That's why all the shikarawalas have been asked to vacate from here. People have been asked to go out of this area, to move out of this location to ensure their safety. The road has been completely blocked. Senior officials are on the spot to ensure that the security remains paramount. And what it is really will be the BDS's job to check. But you will see there now security forces walking and checking that object, and what it is we don't know yet, but could be anything. Could be possibly an explosive that could have been planted here to foil up to or injured any security force personnel, or it could be anything. That's why no chances are being taken. The road has been completely cut off. Senior security officials, police, CRPF have come here. The BDS squad is trying to check that what it really is. You will notice here that BDS men are right now trying to ensure that they are able to see what it is. And apart from this, there's also a CRPF camp outside this location where CRPF officials and officers also come to CRPF's mess here, and it was placed right outside it. And that's why all this area has been completely cleared of any movement. And BDS will ensure that what it is, and they might later on dispose it off. We don't know yet what's going to be the procedure.
A word on the tourists also, because Dal Lake is very popular with the tourists. There are many tourists who also stay on these houseboats. What happens to those? Have these people also been asked to clear out from that area?
Yeah. It's not a big explosive device as far as we can see. It's a small round-shaped explosive device, and there's no much intensity. Even if it's an explosive that has been planted here, it won't cause any severe damage. And that's why only this stretch of road has been cleared. The shikaras which were plying on the right side of the lake, you will see it's completely empty now.
Keep an eye on this story. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. We are cutting across to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Arunachal Pradesh.
पटनायक जी राज्य के लोकप्रिय युवा मुख्यमंत्री पेमा खांडू जी, केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल के मेरे सहयोगी किरण रिजिजू, राज्य सरकार के मंत्रीगण, संसद में मेरे साथी नाबब रेबिया जी, तापिरगांव जी, सभी विधायक साथी, अन्य जनप्रतिनिधिगण, अरुणाचल के मेरे प्यारे भाई और बहनों, बॉम्येरुंग, दोनी पोलो, सर्वशक्तिमान दोनी पोलो हम सबको आशीर्वाद दे। साथियों, हेलीपैड से यहां इस मैदान तक आना, रास्ते में इतने सारे लोगों से मिलना, बच्चों के हाथों में तिरंगा, बेटे बेटियों के हाथों में तिरंगा, अरुणाचल का ये आदर सत्कार गौरव से भर देता है। और ये स्वागत इतना जबरदस्त था कि मुझे पहुंचने में भी देरी हो गई, और इसलिए भी मैं आप सबकी क्षमा मांगता हूं। अरुणाचल की ये भूमि उगते सूर्य की धरती के साथ ही देशभक्ति के उफान की भी धरती है, जिसे तिरंगे का पहला रंग केसरिया है, वैसे ही अरुणाचल का पहला रंग केसरिया है। यहां का हर व्यक्ति शौर्य का प्रतीक है, सादगी का प्रतीक है, और इसलिए अरुणाचल तो मैं कई बार आया हूं, राजनीति में सत्ता के गलियारों में नहीं था तब भी आया हूं, और इसलिए यहां की ढेर सारी यादें मेरे साथ जुड़ी हुई हैं, और उसका स्मरण भी मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। आप सभी के साथ बिताया हर पल मेरे लिए यादगार होता है। आप जितना प्यार मुझे देते हैं, मैं समझता हूं जीवन में इससे बड़ा कोई सौभाग्य नहीं होता है। तवांग मठ से लेकर नमसाई के स्वर्ण पगोड़ा तक अरुणाचल शांति और संस्कृति का संगम है, मां भारती का गौरव है। मैं इस पुण्य भूमि को श्रद्धापूर्वक प्रणाम करता हूं। साथियों, मेरा यहां आज अरुणाचल आना तीन वजहों से बहुत विशेष हो गया है। पहला तो ये कि आज नवरात्रि के पहले दिन मुझे ऐसे सुंदर पर्वतों के दर्शन करने का सौभाग्य मिला। नवरात्र में आज के दिन हम मां शैलपुत्री की पूजा करते हैं, और शैलपुत्री वो प्रयागराज पर्वतराज हिमालय की ही बेटी है। दूसरी वजह ये कि आज से देश में नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लागू हुए हैं। जीएसटी बचत उत्सव की शुरुआत हुई है। त्योहारों के इस मौसम में जनता जनार्दन को ये डबल बोनांजा मिला है। और तीसरी वजह है आज के इस पावन दिन अरुणाचल में विकास के ये ढेर सारे नए प्रोजेक्ट्स। आज अरुणाचल प्रदेश को पावर, कनेक्टिविटी, टूरिज्म और हेल्थ सहित अनेक सेक्टर से जुड़े प्रोजेक्ट मिले हैं। ये बीजेपी की डबल इंजन सरकार के डबल बेनिफिट का बेहतरीन उदाहरण है। मैं अरुणाचल वासियों को इन प्रोजेक्ट्स की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। यहां मंच पर आने से पहले मुझे यहां छोटे मोटे सब व्यापारियों से बातचीत करने का अवसर मिला, उनकी दुकानों में उनके प्रोडक्ट्स देखने का अवसर मिला और उससे भी ज्यादा मैंने उनके उत्साह को अनुभव किया, उनके उमंग को अनुभव किया। और ये बचत उत्सव मैं देख रहा था कि वहां व्यापारियों में, भिन्न भिन्न भांति की चीजों का निर्माण करने वालों में और आज जनता जनार्दन के इतने विशाल रूप में मुझे साफ साफ नजर आ रहा है। साथियों, हमारे अरुणाचल प्रदेश में वैसे तो सूर्य की किरण सबसे पहले आती है, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से यहां तेज विकास की किरणें पहुंचते पहुंचते कई दशक लग गए। मैं 2014 से पहले भी यहां कई बार आया हूं, आपके बीच रहा हूं। अरुणाचल को प्रकृति ने इतना कुछ दिया है, ये धरती, यहां के परिश्रमी लोग, यहां का सामर्थ्य, यहां इतना कुछ है, लेकिन तब जो लोग दिल्ली में बैठकर देश चलाते थे, उन्होंने अरुणाचल को हमेशा नजरअंदाज किया। कांग्रेस जैसे दल सोचते थे कि अरुणाचल में इतने कम लोग हैं, लोकसभा की 2 ही सीटें हैं, तो क्यों अरुणाचल पर ध्यान दिया जाए। कांग्रेस की सोच का अरुणाचल को, पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट को बहुत नुकसान हुआ। हमारा पूरा नॉर्थ ईस्ट विकास में बहुत पीछे छूट गया। साथियों, आपने जब 2014 में मुझे देश की सेवा का अवसर दिया, तो मैंने कांग्रेसी सोच से देश को मुक्ति दिलाने की ठान ली। हमारी प्रेरणा किसी राज्य में वोटों और सीटों की संख्या नहीं, नेशन फर्स्ट की भावना है। देश पहले हमारा एक ही मंत्र है, नागरिक देवो भव। जिनको कभी किसी ने नहीं पूछा, उसको मोदी पूजता है। इसलिए जिस नॉर्थ ईस्ट को कांग्रेस के समय में भुला दिया गया था, वो साल 2014 के बाद विकास की प्राथमिकताओं का केंद्र बन गया है। हमने पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट के विकास के लिए बजट कई गुना बढ़ाया। हमने लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी और लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी को अपनी सरकार की पहचान बनाया। और इतना ही नहीं, हमने ये पक्का किया कि सरकार दिल्ली में बैठकर नहीं चलेगी। अफसरों को, मंत्रियों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा नॉर्थ ईस्ट आना होगा, यहां रात्रि मुकाम करना होगा। साथियों, कांग्रेस सरकार के समय में 2-3 महीने में एकाध बार कोई मंत्री नॉर्थ ईस्ट आता था। बीजेपी सरकार में अब तक 800 से ज्यादा बार केंद्रीय मंत्री नॉर्थ ईस्ट आ चुके हैं। और ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ आए और चले गए। हमारे मंत्री आते हैं तो प्रयास रहता है कि वो दूर दराज के क्षेत्रों में जाए, जिलों में जाए, ब्लॉक में जाए। इतना ही नहीं, कम से कम एक रात रुक करके जाए। मैं खुद ही प्रधानमंत्री के तौर पर 70 से ज्यादा बार नॉर्थ ईस्ट आया हूं। अभी पिछले हफ्ते ही मैं मिजोरम, मणिपुर और असम गया था और रात गुवाहाटी में रुका था। नॉर्थ ईस्ट मुझे दिल से पसंद है और इसलिए हमने दिल की दूरी भी मिटाई है, दिल्ली को आपके पास लेकर के आए हैं। साथियों, हम नॉर्थ ईस्ट के 8 राज्यों को अष्टलक्ष्मी के रूप में पूजते हैं। इसलिए इस क्षेत्र को विकास में पीछे नहीं देख सकते। यहां विकास के लिए केंद्र सरकार ज्यादा से ज्यादा पैसे खर्च कर रही है। मैं आपको एक उदाहरण देता हूं। आप में से कुछ लोगों को पता होगा, देश में जो टैक्स इकट्ठा होता है उसका एक हिस्सा राज्यों को मिलता है। जब कांग्रेस की सरकार थी तो 10 साल में अरुणाचल प्रदेश को सेंट्रल टैक्स में से सिर्फ 6,000 करोड़ रुपए ही मिले थे, जबकि हमारी बीजेपी सरकार के 10 सालों में अरुणाचल को 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक मिल चुके हैं। यानी बीजेपी की सरकार ने अरुणाचल को 16 गुना ज्यादा पैसा दिया है। और ये सिर्फ टैक्स का हिस्सा है। इसके अलावा यहां अलग अलग स्कीम के तहत जो भारत सरकार खर्च कर रही है, जो बड़े बड़े प्रोजेक्ट यहां बन रहे हैं, वो तो अलग ही है। इसलिए आज आप अरुणाचल में इतना व्यापक, इतना तेज विकास होते देख रहे हैं। साथियों, जब नेक नियत से काम होता है, जब प्रयासों में ईमानदारी होती है, तो उसके नतीजे भी दिखते हैं। आज हमारा नॉर्थ ईस्ट देश के विकास की ड्राइविंग फोर्स बन रहा है और बहुत बड़ा फोकस यहां सुशासन पर है, गुड गवर्नेंस पर है। हमारी सरकार के लिए नागरिकों के हितों से बड़ा कुछ भी नहीं। आपका जीवन आसान बने और आसान बने, इसलिए ईज ऑफ लिविंग, आपको आने जाने में मुश्किल ना हो, इसलिए ईज ऑफ ट्रैवल, आपको इलाज में परेशानी ना हो, इसलिए ईज ऑफ मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट, आपके बच्चों को पढ़ाई में दिक्कत ना हो, इसलिए ईज ऑफ एजुकेशन, आपको व्यापार कारोबार में परेशानी ना हो, इसलिए ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस। इन सारे लक्ष्यों को लेकर यहां डबल इंजन की बीजेपी सरकार काम कर रही है। जिन इलाकों में पहले कोई सड़कों की सोच भी नहीं सकता था, आज वहां अच्छे हाईवे बन रहे हैं। सेला टनल जैसा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कुछ साल पहले तक ये सोचना भी असंभव था, लेकिन आज सेला टनल अरुणाचल की पहचान बन चुकी है। साथियों, केंद्र सरकार का प्रयास है कि अरुणाचल सहित नॉर्थ ईस्ट के दूर दराज के इलाकों में हेलीपोर्ट बने, इसलिए इन क्षेत्रों को उड़ान स्कीम से जोड़ा गया है। यहां जो होलोंगी एयरपोर्ट है, वहां भी नई टर्मिनल बिल्डिंग बन चुकी है। अब यहां से सीधे दिल्ली को फ्लाइट मिलती है। इससे आम पैसेंजर्स को, स्टूडेंट्स को, टूरिस्ट को तो फायदा होता ही है, यहां के किसानों और छोटे उद्योगों को भी लाभ हो रहा है। यहां से देश के बड़े बाजारों तक फल सब्जियां पहुंचाना, अपनी उपज पहुंचाना अब और आसान हो गया है। साथियों, हम सभी 2047 तक अपने देश को विकसित बनाने के लक्ष्य को लेकर चल रहे हैं। और भारत तभी विकसित होगा जब देश का हर राज्य विकसित होगा। भारत तभी विकसित होगा जब देश का राज्य राष्ट्र के लक्ष्यों के साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चलेगा। मुझे खुशी है कि देश के बड़े लक्ष्यों को पूरा करने में नॉर्थ ईस्ट बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभा रहा है। पावर सेक्टर इसका बेहतरीन उदाहरण है। भारत ने 2030 तक 500 गीगावाट बिजली, 500 गीगावाट बिजली गैर परंपरागत स्रोतों से पैदा करने का लक्ष्य रखा है। ये लक्ष्य सोलर पावर, विंड एनर्जी, पानी से बिजली बनाकर पूरा किया जाएगा। हमारा अरुणाचल प्रदेश इसमें देश के साथ कदम ताल करते हुए चल रहा है। आज जिन 2 पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स का शिलान्यास किया गया है, वो पावर प्रोड्यूसर के रूप में अरुणाचल की स्थिति को और मजबूत करेंगे। इससे अरुणाचल के हजारों नौजवानों को नौकरियां मिलेगी और यहां विकास के कार्यों के लिए सस्ती बिजली भी उपलब्ध होगी। कांग्रेस की एक पुरानी आदत है कि विकास का जो भी काम मुश्किल होता है, उस काम को वो कभी हाथ ही नहीं लगाते, भाग जाते। कांग्रेस की इस आदत का नॉर्थ ईस्ट को, अरुणाचल को भी बहुत नुकसान हुआ। जो मुश्किल इलाके होते थे, जो पहाड़ों में हो, ये जंगलों के बीच हो, जहां विकास के काम करना चुनौती होता था, उन क्षेत्रों को कांग्रेस पिछड़ा घोषित करके भूल जाती थी। इसमें देश के ट्राइबल इलाके, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के जिले सबसे अधिक थे। जो बॉर्डर से सटे गांव थे, उनको देश के लास्ट विलेज कहकर कांग्रेस अपना पल्ला झाड़ लेती थी और ऐसा करके कांग्रेस अपनी नाकामियों को छुपा ले जाती थी। यही कारण है कि आदिवासी क्षेत्रों से, बॉर्डर के एरिया से लोगों को निरंतर पलायन होता गया। साथियों, हमारी सरकार ने, बीजेपी ने इस अप्रोच को भी बदल दिया। जिनको कांग्रेस बैकवर्ड डिस्ट्रिक्ट कहती थी, हमने उनको एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट बनाया और वहां विकास को प्राथमिकता दी गई। बॉर्डर के जिन गांवों को कांग्रेस लास्ट विलेज कहती थी, उनको हमने देश के फर्स्ट विलेज माना। इसके अच्छे परिणाम आज हम देख रहे हैं। आज बॉर्डर के गांवों में विकास की नई रफ्तार देखी जा रही है। वाइब्रेंट विलेज प्रोग्राम की सफलता ने लोगों का जीवन आसान बनाया है। अरुणाचल प्रदेश के भी 450 से अधिक ऐसे बॉर्डर विलेजेस में तेजी आई है। वहां रोड, बिजली और इंटरनेट जैसी सुविधाएं पहुंची है। पहले बॉर्डर से शहरों की तरफ पलायन होता था, लेकिन अब बॉर्डर के गांव टूरिज्म के नए केंद्र बन रहे हैं। साथियों, अरुणाचल में टूरिज्म के लिए बहुत संभावनाएं हैं। जैसे जैसे कनेक्टिविटी नए नए इलाकों को जोड़ रही है, वैसे वैसे यहां टूरिज्म बढ़ रहा है। मुझे खुशी है कि बीते दशक में यहां टूरिस्ट की संख्या में 2 गुनी वृद्धि हुई है। लेकिन अरुणाचल का सामर्थ्य नेचर और कल्चर से जुड़े टूरिज्म से भी कहीं ज्यादा है। आजकल दुनिया में कॉन्फ्रेंस और कंसर्ट टूरिज्म की भी बहुत बाढ़ आ रही है, बहुत बढ़ रहा है। इसलिए तवांग में बनने जा रहा आधुनिक कन्वेंशन सेंटर अरुणाचल के टूरिज्म में एक नया आयाम जोड़ेगा। अरुणाचल को भारत सरकार के वाइब्रेंट विलेज अभियान से भी बहुत मदद मिलेगी। ये अभियान हमारे बॉर्डर किनारे बसे गांवों के लिए मील का पत्थर साबित हो रहा है। साथियों, आज अरुणाचल में तेजी से विकास इसलिए दिख रहा है क्योंकि दिल्ली और ईटानगर दोनों जगह बीजेपी सरकार है। केंद्र और राज्य दोनों की ऊर्जा विकास में लग रही है। अब जैसे यहां कैंसर इंस्टीट्यूट का काम शुरू हुआ है, यहां मेडिकल कॉलेज बन रहे हैं, आयुष्मान स्कीम से यहां अनेक साथियों को मुफ्त इलाज मिल रहा है। ये केंद्र और राज्य के डबल इंजन से संभव हो पा रहा है। साथियों, डबल इंजन सरकार के प्रयासों से ही अरुणाचल अब कृषि और बागवानी में आगे बढ़ रहा है। यहां के कीवी, संतरे, इलायची, पाइनएप्पल अरुणाचल को नई पहचान दे रहे हैं। पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि का पैसा भी यहां के किसानों के बहुत काम आ रहा है। साथियों, माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों को सशक्त करना हमारी बहुत बड़ी प्राथमिकता है। देश में 3 करोड़ लखपति दीदियां बनाने, ये बहुत बड़ा मिशन है, लेकिन ये मोदी का मिशन है। मुझे खुशी है कि पेमा खांडू जी और इनकी टीम इस मिशन को भी गति दे रही है। यहां बड़ी संख्या में वर्किंग वुमेन हॉस्टल बनाने का जो काम शुरू हुआ है, उससे भी बेटियों को बहुत सुविधा होगी। साथियों, यहां बहुत बड़ी संख्या में माताएं बहनें आई हैं। मैं आपको जीएसटी बचत उत्सव की फिर से एक बार बधाई दूंगा। नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म का भी बहुत बड़ा फायदा उन्हें ही मिलने वाला है। आपको अब हर महीने घर के बजट में बहुत राहत मिलने वाली है। किचन का सामान हो, बच्चों की पढ़ाई की चीजें हो, जूते कपड़े हो, अब ये और सस्ते हो गए हैं। साथियों, आप साल 2014 के पहले के दिन याद करिए, कितनी सारी परेशानियां थी। महंगाई आसमान छू रही थी, चारों तरफ महा घोटाले हो रहे थे और तब की कांग्रेस सरकार जनता पर टैक्स का बोझ बढ़ाती ही जा रही थी। उस समय साल में 2 लाख रुपए कमाने पर भी इनकम टैक्स लग जाता था। ये मैं 11 साल पहले की बात कर रहा हूं। 2 लाख रुपया अगर कमाया आपने तो आपको इनकम टैक्स देना पड़ता था। और आम जरूरत की कई चीजों पर कांग्रेस की सरकार 30% से अधिक टैक्स लेती थी। बच्चों की टॉफी पर भी इतना टैक्स लगाया जाता था। साथियों, तब मैंने कहा था, मैं आपकी कमाई और आपकी बचत दोनों को बढ़ाने का काम करूंगा। बीते सालों में देश के सामने अनेक बड़ी बड़ी चुनौतियां आई, लेकिन हम इनकम टैक्स घटाते गए। इसी साल हमने, अब विचार कीजिए, 11 साल पहले 2 लाख, इसी साल हमने 12 लाख रुपए तक की वार्षिक आय पर इनकम टैक्स जीरो कर दिया। और आज से जीएसटी को भी हमने सिर्फ 2 स्लैब तक सीमित कर दिया है, 5% और 18%। बहुत सारी चीजें अब टैक्स फ्री हो गई है। बाकी सामान पर भी टैक्स बहुत कम हो गया है। आप आराम से अब अपना नया घर बना सकते हैं। कोई स्कूटर, बाइक खरीदना है, बाहर खाना पीने के लिए जाना है, कहीं घूमने फिरने जाना है, ये सब पहले से सस्ते हो गए हैं। ये जीएसटी बचत उत्सव आपके लिए बहुत यादगार बनने वाला है। साथियों, मैं अरुणाचल प्रदेश की हमेशा इस बात के लिए प्रशंसा करता हूं कि आप सभी नमस्कार से भी पहले जय हिंद कहते हैं। आप वो लोग हैं जो देश को स्वयं से भी पहले रखते हैं। आज जब हम सब मिलकर विकसित भारत बनाने के लिए इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, तो देश की हमसे भी एक अपेक्षा है। ये अपेक्षा है आत्मनिर्भरता की। भारत विकसित तभी होगा जब भारत आत्मनिर्भर होगा। और भारत की आत्मनिर्भरता के लिए जरूरी है स्वदेशी का मंत्र। आज समय की मांग है, देश की मांग है कि हम स्वदेशी अपनाएं, खरीदे वही जो देश में बना हो, बेचे वही जो देश में बना हो, गर्व से कहें ये स्वदेशी है। मेरे साथ बोलेंगे? आप लोग मेरे साथ बोलेंगे? मैं कहूंगा गर्व से कहें, आप कहें ये स्वदेशी है। गर्व से कहें, गर्व से कहें, गर्व से कहें। इसी मंत्र पर चलते हुए देश का विकास होगा, अरुणाचल का, नॉर्थ ईस्ट का विकास तेज होगा। एक बार फिर आपको इन विकास परियोजनाओं के लिए बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। आज नवरात्रि का पावन पर्व भी है, बचत उत्सव भी है। तो इस उत्सव में शरीक होने के लिए मेरी एक रिक्वेस्ट है आपको, अपना मोबाइल फोन बाहर निकालिए और मोबाइल फोन का फ्लैश लाइट चालू कीजिए। सब अपने मोबाइल की फ्लैश लाइट चालू करें। सबके मोबाइल की फ्लैश लाइट चालू करिए और हाथ ऊपर कीजिए सबका। सब अपने मोबाइल की फ्लैश लाइट। ये बचत उत्सव का नजारा है, ये बचत उत्सव की ताकत है। ये नवरात्रि का प्रथम दिन है। देखिए प्रकाश ही प्रकाश है और अरुणाचल का प्रकाश पूरे देश में फैल जाता है। देखिए चारों तरफ नजारा देखिए, चारों तरफ नजारा देखिए, रोशनी ही रोशनी, चमकते तारों की तरह। मेरी आप सबको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Okay, Prime Minister Narendra Modi once again describing the GST reforms as the start of a Bachat Utsav. He has once again called it Festival of Savings, and they're asking the audience to display their phone flashlights. You saw that gesture on part of the Prime Minister's his concluding remarks. But the Prime Minister also, while hailing the GST reforms, GST 2.0, spoke of how the Congress, and he did take political potshots here a little while earlier, spoke of the Congress always neglecting Arunachal Pradesh, says that's why the Northeast has suffered for years at length. And it was the Bharatiya Janata Party, he says, that frayed Bharat from the Congress mindset. So he spoke of the Congress rule, everything that didn't quite add up and led to Arunachal and other northeastern states being neglected. That said, the Prime Minister once again highlighting the GST 2.0. Remember, that's officially kicked in starting today itself. We're putting out several ground reports as well, but going across to Aman Sharma for a quick update on all that he made of the Prime Minister's comments. This being spoken of in Arunachal Pradesh, Aman, yesterday in that address to the nation, the Prime Minister did highlight how this is the start of the Bachat Utsav. Went on to reiterate the same. Tell us a little bit about what you made of those comments that were spoken of and how this is going to be a game changer in years to come.
Well, Kitsune, I think two big messages from the Prime Minister. Number one, of course, the GST reform rollout, the cuts which have been rolled out from today. The Prime Minister at this stage in Arunachal Pradesh describing it as a double bonanza for people. He's saying the first we got the income tax cuts done in February this year to put more money into your pocket. And now this GST cut rollout which is happening today, making nearly 395 household daily use items much cheaper. Either they are just 5% or at 0% GST rate, and this is going to spur consumption. The Prime Minister is telling people, no, you can go and buy things at cheaper rates, and this is a double bonanza. The Prime Minister is clearly telling the people. He's saying that the former governments could not bring GST because they couldn't convince the states about the revenue, but it is his government which first brought GST, and now 8 years later they have brought this big GST reform which is making everything cheaper, a double bonanza. Yesterday, the Prime Minister in his address to the nation had also said that rupees 2.5 lakh crore is the estimate that people will save due to this double bonanza of IT cuts as well as the GST rate cuts. And this is the amount of money which is going to be in people's pockets, and consumption and spending could increase. I think the second point that he's this attack on the Congress party, that the Congress ministers in the UPA time hardly visited the Northeast, while in his government, in Mr. Modi's government, ministers have constantly visited the Northeast. In fact, the Prime Minister himself has been to the Northeast a record number of times over the last 11 years. Every 2 to 3 months we see the Prime Minister in the Northeast, and that has helped in the development of the Northeast. Today the Prime Minister laying the foundation stone, inaugurating projects worth crores for Arunachal Pradesh. Also the foundation stone of 2 new dams has been laid by the Prime Minister. Last year the Prime Minister had laid the foundation stone of what will be India's biggest dam to come up in Arunachal Pradesh. So all these projects, the Dibang multipurpose project I was speaking about, on which work is also beginning now to be completed ahead of 2032. All these are the NDA government's gifts towards the Northeast. And he's saying that Congress coined the term last village when it came to the border states, but now the government of Mr. Modi looks at it as the first village when it comes to the border areas.
And we thank Aman for sharing all those details and really taking us through the key takeaways of what we heard from the Prime Minister in Arunachal Pradesh. Well, GST 2.0 has kicked in officially, and that means a lot of changes to your shopping bill. It's a story we continue to decode and track here very closely on CNN News 18. We'll be right back after a short break. Stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Launched on the first day of Navratri, the next-gen GST, or what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, the GST Bachat Utsav, where Nagrik Devo Bhava is the mantra. It marks a significant overhaul. Let's try and understand this, the key sectors where the benefits will manifest. GST on gyms and fitness centers has been reduced from 18% to 5%. There's a GST cut on yoga classes as well. Spa and salon services to become cheaper. So that haircut, that trim, perhaps also a facial, all of this becomes cheaper on the pocket. But what does that mean? That you can add one more service to the list. Can you afford that? Is that going to make our life better? Healthcare on GST. Healthcare is 0% GST on life-saving drugs. All individual life and health insurance policies. GST on essential medicines has been reduced from 12% to 5%. There is no GST on treatment and disposal of biomedical waste, and that's been cut from 12% to 5%. So these are all aspects with respect to healthcare where there is a huge boost. Those who are dithering from going for a health insurance or a life insurance because of the GST rates, will they now start insuring their lives, insuring their health? Will they now take the plunge? And how much of a boost will that be to the entire insurance business and the insurance industry? We have to wait and watch, because there are a lot of jobs that the insurance sector also creates. Automobiles, the GST is down from 28% to 18% on cars in the affordable segment. That means anything that is less than 1500 cc. So at 1496 cc, are you going to pay 10% lesser? But cars which are above 1500 cc, luxury, that fall into the luxury bracket, there is a 5 to 6% differential too, despite that slab moving from 28% to 40%. Now, there is also lower GST on bikes up to 350 cc from 28% to 18%. So a 10% drop in prices. So a car or a bike that is costing $1.5 lakh will now be 15,000 rupees cheaper. And does that now suddenly make it affordable for that person who thought that, oh, I don't think I can aspire for that bike because I can't afford that 15,000 extra on the EMI, on the loan? Does that now just become reachable for the person? So an aspirational lifestyle, an improvement in the quality or the type of bike that person is going to ride, and perhaps a sense of, I have also moved up in life. So that fueling that emotion, that EQ into the person, the average Bharatiya, is that what's going to be the biggest fillip in boosting that person's confidence to aspire for more, to work harder, to strive for more? A flat 40% GST, no cess on large cars. That is also reducing cost. Like I was mentioning earlier, on large cars, we are paying anywhere between 46 to 50%, including the cess. So GST plus cess, etc. but in this case now it is flat 40% and no cess. So that also comes down by about 6 to 8%. So at 50 lakhs, if you are spending about 10% less, that's a lot of money that a person can save. Perhaps that will help them add on to the accessories or look at something else where they could spend that income or that disposable income somewhere else. Rural economy, the GST on tractors, 1800cc, less than 1800cc, greater than 1800cc, that's been reduced to 5%. Tractor parts, tires, hydraulic pumps at 5%. GST on sprinklers, drip irrigation, harvesting, all of that has also dropped. So there is a big shift there, from 12% to 5%. Machinery cut from 12% to 5%. So at various levels, even in the rural economy, there is going to be a big spurt in consumption. That's the expectation because of greater disposable income in the hands of the average farmer in the rural area or the resident in rural areas. Daily essentials, UHT milk, roti, paratha, paneer, all exempted from GST. You know, GST on dry fruits and diabetic foods has also been cut from 12% to 5%. Fish, fruit pulp, milk beverages, all are working at lowered taxes, and those numbers are only going to reduce the monthly household budget, allowing the homemaker to try and also add more to the list of things that make up the shelf in the kitchen. That perhaps towards the
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. Shifting our focus to some news we're tracking from down south. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin made a strong pitch to consolidate Muslim support ahead of the upcoming state elections. Speaking at an event marking the 1500th birth anniversary of Prophet Muhammad, M.K. Stalin said that Prophet preached love and peace and that the DMK will stand by the Muslim community. He also accused the BJP-led central government of pushing authoritarian politics and bringing controversial amendments to the Waqf Act, which was stayed by the Supreme Court due to efforts by the DMK and its allies. Those were his words. He then hit out at the AIDMK for failing to defend minority rights and assured that the DMK would continue to act as a protective fortress for minorities. So that's the Muslim appeasement that's coming in from M.K. Stalin, as is being criticized by the Bharatiya Janata Party as well, calling out BJP's cheap authoritarian politics. That's what was spoken of by M.K. Stalin in taking on the Bharatiya Janata Party, and said, I'm assuring you that DMK will be there to safeguard the interest of Muslim community. Also, do remember, this comes at a time when the SDPI has been demanding to add a chapter in the textbooks while remembering Prophet Muhammad. That too, the DMK says, has been taken into consideration. Let's listen in once again to what exactly was said by the Chief Minister.
அரசு உறுதியான நடவடிக்கைகளை மேற்கொள்ளணும்னு நான் ஏற்கனவே பதிவு செஞ்சிருக்கிறேன். மீண்டும் ஒரு முறை இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியின் மூலமாக நான் வலியுறுத்துகிறேன். முத்தமிழறிஞர் தலைவர் கலைஞர் அவர்கள் தான் 1969 மிலாது நபிக்கு அரசு விடுமுறையை அறிவித்தார். அதை 2001 அதிமுக ரத்து செஞ்சதும், மறுபடியும் 2006 கழக ஆட்சியில விடுமுறை வழங்கினதும் உங்க எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும். அது மட்டுமல்ல, ஏன் நாங்க எப்போதும் உங்களின் ஒருவன் சொல்றோம்.
Going across to Mugilan, who joins us with more details. Mugilan, be it including content on Prophet Muhammad in school curriculum in Tamil Nadu, or issues like the Waqf Amendment Bill, CA in the past, M.K. Stalin has been very vocal about his support to a particular section which has been called out by the Bharatiya Janata Party time and again, has called it politics of appeasement. Tell us a little bit about this one comment that's come in from his side in brief. Is he also reaching out to several Muslim communities in Tamil Nadu ahead of state elections?
Definitely, we have seen, at least in last two elections, we have seen the DMK have managed to retain the maximum number of minority votes, particularly from the Muslim community. And ahead of the 2026 elections, once again, we are seeing DMK trying to consolidate its minority vote base. Yesterday, at an event that's been called by various Muslim organizations, CM M.K. Stalin has listed out the schemes and the other announcements that have been made by the DMK regime, current and in the past also. So now we are once again seeing the DMK is trying to consolidate the votes, because when it comes to minority votes, we are seeing EPS also trying to get a share of minority votes. Even during the recent campaigns in various districts, including Nagapattinam, we heard it from EPS stating it is that the ADMK which stood in support of minorities and minorities should stand with the ADMK. So as both the Dravidian political parties have started consolidating their minority vote base, now we are seeing DMK also going a step and making several announcements. And there was particularly we have to see the demand that has been made by the SDPI party, because SDPI have made a request to the Chief Minister stating that there should be a chapter on Prophet Muhammad. For that, CM have replied that I wanted to inform that there is already a chapter on Prophet Muhammad, and there are other announcements that are waiting to follow. So now we are seeing DMK is trying to consolidate its minority vote base, and we also saw CM extending an invite to SCPA to come and join the India Alliance in Tamil Nadu.
Many thanks, Mugilan, for joining us with all those details. We'll come back to you as and when we take in more political reactions, perhaps from the Bharatiya Janata Party. All of this happening in the run-up to the 2026 Tamil Nadu elections. For now, shifting our focus back to Arunachal Pradesh to remember the Prime Minister addressed a large gathering just a few minutes ago and now is holding a roadshow in the state. And these are visuals of the Prime Minister's roadshow. So we heard him talk about the Bachat Utsav, talk about the changes that come in with GST 2.0.